the time it took. We used to have our things in place. Now reel me in, I've gone too deep. Forgotten what you used to say. Do you feel it? We used to feel this. Do you see me? Young and carefree. We used to have time. We used to be careless. We used to have time, but we couldn't care less. Do you feel it? We used to feel this. Do you see me? Young and carefree. Do you hear me? Will you stay here? Do you feel me? Will we care less? Do you feel it? We used to feel this. Do you see me? Young and carefree.
Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? One, two, the things you do in your room when you're all alone. 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. 7, 8, feeling brave but you never really play this game. 9, 10, feels like heaven, you're crying cause you wanna stay. Quick fix, finding bliss when you feel the heartbeat inside. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? When you're drunk, 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 when you're drunk. Me too, I'm just like you, and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, having sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, but I manage to fuck up somehow. Getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk, and I'm getting high. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? One, two, the things you do in your room when you're all alone. In your room when you're all alone. 3, 4, you want mom or whatever cure that was. Or whatever cure that was. 5, 6, finding bliss when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. When you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk, when you're drunk or you're doing drugs. Do you believe in magic? Me too, I'm just like you, and I need to fuck it up sometime. I'm stuck with ego trips, having sex to a lovable bar. Sometimes I feel magic, then I manage to fuck up somehow. Getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk, getting drunk. Do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic?
Is it about control? Losing the grip, you get old. Turn to the sea. I don't know how, but you found me. Never too late to get up. Maybe it's not as hard as you think. Some things you cannot change. You feel it but out of range. Your mind is at war, trying to find the answer. You look from every angle. This time I promise you it runs deep, yeah. This is hardwired. Caught me out of the blue. Said I don't care what they do. I will be fine as long as I'm close to the water. Why'd you buy me flowers?
I've always admired those who just do it, and they conquered their fears. They fall back down and they keep getting up, and they try to steer clear. I'm afraid, I'll admit. What if I'm stuck in my mind? I'm not great, neither rich, but will you stay here by my side? All the good times turn into memories, and the revelry goes on. Let's have a good
Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are again. Just mere hours ago, we were all hanging out here. Now I'm back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks to Kevin for the blurb. Thank you for contacting Grid One Motorsports. Your chat is very important to us. Please remain in the chat, and your concern will be addressed in the order in which it was received. That was awesome. Silvar Ogre, hey man, have a good lunch. We'll see you when you get back. Don't forget you can listen while you work. All right, man, we got there's so much to talk about just in the last like 24 hours, man. It's like the world has gone crazy, like nuts, like unbelievable stuff has been happening. One of the greats, all-time greats, Gene Hackman, was found with his wife and dog dead in their home. I think they're talking about it maybe some sort of carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't think they suspect foul play, but who knows at this point. All I know is Gene Hackman was cool, man. Like that, I was a cool dude, and it's hard, to think about that he's gone. But you know what? He was 95 years old, dude, and he actually retired a while back from acting. It's just his movies are so iconic; they're just played all the time, and you just, if you're like me, you just think the guy's always around. Thank you, Mr. Mister, for throwing that out there in the Discords. Appreciate that. That's excellent. Excellent. So there's a lot going on out there in the world today. We're going to talk a little later after some people filter in. We're going to talk about debt, why debt is bad. Maybe it's good. Maybe, how, what the different kinds of debt are, and just how to manage all of that stuff. What assets really are, and it's going to be interesting. But for now, I'm kind of blown away. Also, one of the girls from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I think I watched like a half an episode of that one time because nothing else was on, and I did like Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's pretty smoking. But I didn't even actually remember the other girl. She was apparently in some other stuff. I'm not sure that I saw any of that. But everybody's making a big deal about her passing away at 39. No reason given. I don't know what's going on out there. If you saw last night's show, by the way, it was supposed to be a lot higher energy. It was supposed to be a lot better. Unfortunately, as we alluded to in the show, just how to put this? Flakes. It's just flakes, man. Everybody, kind of laughs about Brian talking about flakes all the time, but I'm going to tell you that's a real thing. Like you can literally have like people just absolutely like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there 100%, I promise. What night is it? Well, it's Wednesday night. Okay, cool. I'll make a note. A week out. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Good, no problem. Day before. Oh, wait, it's Wednesday night? Oh, I can't do Wednesday nights. Can you do it? Can we do it like Saturday or something? Some bullshit like that. And then I actually reached out to somebody that I normally would not reach out to. Not because I don't like them. I think they're fine. It's just there's a certain amount of baggage that comes along with the person that I reached out to. But I thought that they'd be a great guest, it'd be a very intelligent conversation. And these people hate success. They fight success like it's God fucking Zilla. Swear to God. Swear to God. You just can't. You can't make it up. I want to make it. I would love to say that I'm just making this shit up, but I'm not. Now that I've ranted slightly, I'm going to recognize the people who come into the chat, talk, listen to me, rant, listen to my bullshit. It's tough. It's tough. Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics was first today. Somehow beat K2. K2 must be sleeping somewhere. Imperius was next. Not sure he's still here. He's probably out and about causing trouble somewhere. Damien, the parkour expert, was third. And again, you got to watch his channel. His channel's really good, guys. I don't understand. If you haven't watched his channel, go watch his channel. It's really good. He does believe that parkour is the answer to everything. I'm not sure I agree, but I can't fault the effort. It's great. Kevin is in the chat. Minions have arrived. Mr. is in the chat. TR Finley is in the chat. And by the way, Silvar Ogre was in the chat, but he's off to lunch. Hopefully he gets well fed. Siege D is in the chat. Good to see you, sir. We got to work on getting that fellow Davrick back on. We got to get that. We got to get some stuff going on there. Mr. obviously is in the chat. He's always here. And thank you, sir, for putting it out in the Discords. Angel Berber's in the house, and so is Plasma Void. My focus is off? Wait, is my focus off, guys? It's supposed to be out of focus in the back. That's called bokeh. It's a real thing. Mikey Balls is in the chat. And, of course, I'd already mentioned Angel Berber. I really like Angel Berber. Angel Berber, you guys probably don't remember this, but in the early days of the show, this was probably this time last year, Angel Berber actually came on panel, and he was an excellent guest. And I'm always surprised that he doesn't come up more because he is he's very, very excellent. It's just slightly out of focus. Let me take a look here. Hang on. Stand by. So I'm looking at this through monitors. So different monitors. I don't know, man. I can read my 511 over here. You can see my glasses. Could be your monitor, maybe. I don't know. It's pretty sharp to me. Obviously, the background is supposed to be out of focus. But let me check over here. I got check another monitor. It looks good to me. YouTube's not fucking it up too much. Yeah. You can even read that logo there. Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Well, it looks good on my end, at least on the computer. There is a little bit of color on one of my monitors. One of my monitors needs a color adjusted, but I'm not going to fuck with it right now. The other monitor looks good. So that one looks good. That one's, this one's tits. All right. Well, whatever. So anyway, well, thank you, Plasma Void, for distracting me. It's pretty cool. Yeah, let me. The problem really is that I did change my lighting and I changed the background, so I have more light than I had previously, and that is actually fucking with everything right now. So I could actually ask you guys. That might be slightly better. I got to get the walls back to where they were. Anyway, Mikey Balls has been Mikey Balls should come up on. Also, yeah, it's too much light. That's what the problem is. That's why I seem to. Yeah, I got too much light going on. Mikey Balls should come up today, and we should talk news because it's an interesting day. We also talk debt and other things like that. Congress is jacked up. Did you see that all of the Democrats voted against the no tax on tips bill? All of them, every single one. Like, what the hell, man? Like, that's crazy. That's craziness. It's nuts. It's just crazy. You'd love to, but almost lunch. Yeah, we'll have fun at lunch, man. Party line, and the funny thing is that it just it's just not a good look. It's one thing, right? If they say, hey, you know what, we're towing party line, we're going to do what we need to do, and this is going to be, you know, but we're going to do what we need to do for the American people. We're going to do the actual job that we're paid to do. If that were the case, man, I could be. I could get on board with it, right? Like, they would actually win so much more goodwill back if they simply acted like they gave a shit about the American people. But no, it's all fucking party line bullshit. Do you really, Mr. Mister? That's cool. I have not seen that. I looked for it earlier, but I didn't find it. So maybe I need to check that out. At any rate, yeah, it's crazy right now. It's absolutely it's absolutely nuts. Right. Yeah, everything's party line right now. Did they not understand how bad this looks for them? You can throw it to me on Discord. I actually need to open that window back up. Do they not, I mean, is it just me, or is it just a terrible look? Is it just not? I mean, it seems to me like it's an absolutely terrible look um, for everyone on the left right now, because they look insane, absolutely insane. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just that they think that their particular group of supporters is gonna appreciate that. Um, but literally, the people who are always complaining, guys, listen. The left is always pointing the finger at the right and saying they're gonna take your Social Security. They each and every one of them voted against removing the income tax from Social Security, removing the income tax from tips, removing all of this this undue tax burden. And they're the ones that always point to the fact that they always say it's the right that's trying to ruin your life. It's the right that's the problem. They want to tax your tips. They want to tax this. They want to tax that. They want to take away your Social Security. They want you to, all of this stuff. But time and again, and this is what I don't really understand. Maybe you guys could help me. Maybe I'm just not that smart. I'm probably not that smart. But why the fuck did Joe Biden put into effect that every transaction under over $600 on any platform had to be accounted for on your taxes? Like, literally, people just privately sending PayPals to each other, or a guy selling stuff off for his garage sale, taking Venmo or what the fuck ever, is now scared to fucking death to price something over $600 because he doesn't want to be taxed on. I literally, no shit. I bought a motorcycle earlier this year from a friend of mine, and he literally said he only would take cash because even though it was way easier, pardon me, even though it's way fucking easier for me just to Venmo this dude a few bucks, he doesn't want the government to know about it. It's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, what? Where's the beef, Anson Knowles? The beef is all over, man. I don't have any beef, actually. I need a beef snack. I do. I need a. I'm going to try those carnivore snacks, that's supposed to be just beef and salt and nothing else. I'm going to try them. They're really expensive, though. Like, I looked at those the other night and I was like, holy fuck. Like, $8 an ounce. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah. All right. Well, Gene Hackman died. Some girl from what the fuck was that show again? Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She died. Welcome, Lauren D. How are you today? It's interesting to me, and I'm probably the only one. It's interesting to me how Democrats keep voting for Democrats. I watch the rhetoric, man. I watch the rhetoric. I don't usually say anything in these places, but I go to places. Hey, Gimpy, what is up? Excellent. Good to see you, Gimpy. Good to see you. So I go to these places, right? Like just online, I'll go to where the fuck ever, I go to several liberal leftist forums. Libs of TikTok is always good. They're crazy as fuck, you know. And I'll go and I'll look at these people and I'll try and see, what they've got going on, And and I have leftists that post on Facebook and I read their nonsense. It's absolutely fucking crazy, dudes. Dude. Hey, Gimpy, you want to come up, man? Gimpy, are you in my Discord? We'll get a mod to get you the um the link. We'll get you up here, man. You don't want to come up? All right. That's fine. Well, all right then. That's fine, man. I don't care. Trump is a fascist. That's interesting. You're not in Discord. Oh, you're not in Discord. We'll figure it out. I can give you the Discord. Do you want the Discord? Trump is a fascist is a bold claim. I don't think he's a fascist though. The hole punchers, right? Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, they're back there, man. They're I changed the set again from last night. If you watched the show last night, you know that it was different. Today it's different. I think the reason I'm having trouble why the camera looks off today is I have too much of the white wall, and that's fine. You can defend what, Mister? I'm really, man. I really find it interesting these days. Let me give you the Discord, Gimpster. Let me got to remember how to do that. You can defend that Trump's a fascist? Please do. I don't know. Is he though? I don't know. I mean, maybe he is. I think he's a nationalist. I think that's for sure. I think he's a oh, that he's not? Yeah. I think he's a nationalist for sure. I think he's a nationalist. I'm actually really surprised that Anson Knowles doesn't love Trump because Trump is as close as Anson Knowles is going to get to a king in this country. Yeah, he is a '90s Democrat. Well, actually, he's like a '60s Democrat, really. So he's like a JFK style Democrat. You discovered on X that Trump hates women. That's interesting because he bought the the Miss USA pageant when it was in bankruptcy and about to go away forever. Won't let you accept the invite. That's weird. Let me that's very strange. It's you. Okay. The name of the name of my um Discord is The Shed. Just so you know. Well, that's okay. We can Gimpy, what we'll do is stand by. I got you, bro. I got you. I think I do anyway. So what I'm going to do is Mikey Balls, are you still in the chat? Still in there? Can you post the link link to come up on the show in the chat? Let Gimpy get it, and then we'll delete it. People do that all the time, Moxie. People do it all the time, Moxie. I used to fire people a lot. I was actually really bad about firing people too. So interesting. Yeah, come on up, Gimpy. Actually, Moxie can come up too if she wants to. She won't want to because she doesn't like me, but that's okay. If she wants to come up, she can come up. Imperious, you've got to. You're gonna have to wait. There's Gimpy. What's up, man? There he is. Man. What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing? What's up, man?
What's up, buddy?
How you doing?
What's up, man?
I have a echo from somewhere.
I can't.
Is that echo on my end? No, not on my end. That's all right. So, Gimpy, what do you think about all of the? Have you been following the actual politics lately, or are you just kind of not paying attention to that? Can you hear me?
Second, dude. For some reason, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
YouTube, so I'm behind you.
You can't hear me?
Yeah. I have to have my YouTube turned, like the audio from that. Let me see.
Yeah, you have to turn. Yeah, you have to mute YouTube or turn. Get away from. Yeah, you have to mute YouTube or get away from.
Can you? I know you can hear me. The problem is I can.
Is it working now? Can you hear me now? Gimpy, can you hear me now? Gimpy?
Why is this now?
I can see you.
Crazy.
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. I can only hear you through YouTube.
Crazy. I can hear you.
No, I know you can
so what you got to do is down there where it says mute, there's a little like a little button next to it. You got to click that and then find your speakers. Sometimes it'll set your mic and your speakers is the same for some reason. It's a Verizon commercial. That's funny. Can you hear me now? It's a great commercial. I send what 5 things you have done emails every day. I don't really. All right, in the shed entitled archive. Great. I'll take a look at it for sure.
That was aggravating.
Oh, there you are.
It's because I have this stupid KVM switch, and every time I flip it on the at a bad time, like the computer doesn't like it, it fucks all the settings up for audio and mic.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, how about that, man? How you doing?
Oh, I'm chilling, man. I'm taking a break from work. It's been another day.
Yeah. What do you do for work, Gimpy?
My technical job, I guess, is technical project manager is what my title is. I'm the
Nice.
I'm the political officer of my company. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, that's my day-to-day role, is to make sure everyone else does their job.
All right. There you go.
It's legitimately what I do. Technically, I run most of development for the company. But that's just the side effect of what I do. Not necessarily, I don't know. I'm not explaining it, dude. I work for a guy I used to work for. He hired me when my contract ended with the government during COVID, you know, like at the end of COVID, because I was consulting over at CMS. And then he didn't have a job for me. He just wanted me in his company because I had worked for him at another company. I was successful with him. So my job morphed from an administrative job to project management to a senior management, like, because a lot of imbeciles in the workforce. And they're not bad or malicious. They just gotta have proper guidance all the time. There has to be a manager who's willing to put their foot down. So the guy who was in that position, turns out he's not as effective as one would hope. He's a better coder than he is manager. So he does his coding all day, right? They split his job in two, and I do all his.
Gimpy, keep talking. I gotta mute down. I've got a phone call coming in. Give me 1 second.
No worries, brother. So I guess that's what I do for a living, is that I sit there and I tell other people, developers, what to do, and then technical support what to do. I wonder how many times Imperius has insulted me in the chat. Oh, $2. The CT. Dude, Imperius, you have way too much.
Marketers are the bane of anyone's existence. They're getting very smart now. So,
dude, telemarketers are the worst. I get numbers that I think are work related on my phone.
Yeah. I actually, I'm in the middle of doing some business with somebody, and the number that popped up is literally like from the same area, same city, same everything.
I get that.
Oh, it's the same. It's just a different phone in their office or something, and I pick it up, and it's like, this is an important message, and I'm like, fuck you guys, God, man. Yeah. So Imperius, I don't play random memes unless I check them out first. But thank you for the $2.
Imperius anyhow, man.
So Imperius is normally fairly well behaved over here.
I didn't know that was physically possible.
No. Actually, normally, he has had a couple of bad days where, and usually it's like person specific. Like, I don't know that I would trust Imperius with you and Moxie, because there's something about you guys that just trigger him.
Yes, it's us triggering him. Yes.
Yeah, there's something about it, man. You guys set him into like overdrive for some reason.
You can't help it, man.
I know your existence is
good looks, dude. It's what it is. That's why he keeps calling me ugly. He's jealous.
Yeah.
It's okay, Imperius. We all know that's why you won't cam up. You don't want anybody to know how ugly you are next to me.
Yeah. So what do you think about, is Trump a fascist, do you think?
I think Trump's an opportunist. So I'm on the boat with the 4 phases of government, right? Like, we're just in a transitional phase. Everything moves in between 2 forms of anarchy, right? Like total lawlessness and total authoritarianism. We're just sliding back and forth between that, right? Like, that's why Reagan was right. And, it's always one generation away. I mean, yeah, sure. Trump does some stuff that is kind of authoritarian. But at the same token, I feel like it's to balance the scales, right? Like, let's take the White House press, right? Like, and everybody thinks that that's the end of the republic there. They kind of brought it on themselves. Why should an administration trust the press when it's clear that the press had it out for them for like 10 years?
Do you think that just kind of being an authoritarian, do you think just having that, like, I hate to even say tendency, but doing an action that is perceived that way actually makes you that thing? Isn't that like weird to say?
Do you ever remember the first The Substitute with Tom Berenger? Right?
Yes.
You remember what's his face? Eddie Hudson, right? Like that's the actor's name, the black guy.
I'm gonna play Imperius's meme. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, dude.
Give me 1 second.
What you gonna do, though, nigga? On beach, nigga. That's what you gonna do, though. Yeah, nigga. That's what you gonna do, though, nigga. Yeah, nigga. Yeah. Ha ha ha. What's poppin', girl? Hey, y'all know what I mean? Come here, though. Sound. That's what you gonna.
Why is Imperius making fun of CT?
Because Imperius has nothing better to do with his cushy government gig. Contractors, lawyer. Wow. He sits around all day just sucking off government dollars that are pre-approved in advance.
Yeah, okay.
But
All right. Let's roll back. So
I was saying
obviously
Ernie Huston, that's his name. So he does this scene where he does at the beginning, he punches through the Greek paddleboard that they would use, right? And he has that line, power perceived is power achieved, right? So
sure,
what you say should be as equally true. If people perceive what you're doing as tyrannical, because to them it is, even if in your mind you don't think. My friend has a great saying, every villain thinks he's the hero.
Okay. Do you,
right? Like
would you say
the super villains in this thing always think they're doing the best for humanity, even though everybody hates them? They're really doing what they think is going to save everybody. It's only looks bad because you don't understand my genius.
Absolutely. So would you say? I would say, but would you agree that Trump is more of a he's more of a nationalist?
He's a
and more of a like a what I would consider a middle of the road Democrat from like the 60s, right? Like a Kennedy Democrat, blue dog Democrat.
I mean, he's a traditional Democrat. He's the ideal left behind. In mind,
but he's not a liberal though. See, the thing is that right? Yeah, so he's
but he's like the ideal of what Left Behind is. He's only a Republican because what he wanted the Democrat Party to become never even had a chance, right? Like they totally didn't embrace. They moved all away from that conceptual. You know what I'm trying to say? I don't have words right now. Sorry, but
yeah,
he's the epitome of that. Because
what do you think about the way these votes are going? Have you been watching the? I mean, you say you obviously probably pay attention to the. You probably pay attention to what's going on in Congress. What do you think about how Congress is? What do you feel like the look is for Congress when they're constantly voting against the very things that they say they stand for?
Who?
Well, the Democrats. The Democrats voted line item.
Okay, I mean, so you can say that there's this perception flip. But it's been true about both sides the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
They are opportunists. They're a uniparty. The problem is Trump broke the uniparty. He got it to be actually bipartisan, like, have a polar thing going again. Because for the longest time, under Obama, under Bush 2, basically Congress just moved in lockstep with itself.
Yeah.
You had that. So like now he brought back this is like, no, we have an agenda and I'm going to hold you to it. Just like you saw with the budget deal now.
Sure.
Because they all were threatening. And Mike Johnson, you know what he said in those rooms is that Elon Musk will spend every dollar he has to make sure you lose a primary, whether we win the seat or not. And then they come out and they all vote. I mean, I promise you that's what's happening. It's not convincing them. They're all being, kept in line behind closed doors there. That's why they're canceling their town halls. They're not putting up with the bullshit the Democrats are throwing because they know what's at back home.
That's an interesting take on it. See, I see just my perspective, right? Why? Oh, Miss, you can't post links, man. You can't post link. Even anything even looks like a link. If it has a period in it, WMD will get you. Sorry. Anyway, so what I feel, what I think is that I agree the uniparty to some degree was broken up by Trump's actions, but I think it's the first time Congress has actually been in fear of anything.
I mean,
since World War II.
You have to be more specific to define that word fear for me, sir.
Well, like, so this is the first time I think since World War II that Congress has had any real fear that Congress has had fear that they could lose control of the public, that that what they, the spending that they want to do and the deals that they're making under the table could actually be exposed, because they are being exposed, right? Like, I think that they thought it was so I honestly believe that there was a small portion of congressmen that actually believed that Trump was going to put Doge into effect, and that Doge was actually going to find anything. And then 5 days in, now that's my wife. I'm sorry, I've got to answer this.
Go ahead,
Give me 1 second. You can just chat for a minute.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm sure so many people have CT withdrawal symptoms, especially in periods. Just saying.
I think my wife wanted to go to lunch and she forgot what day it was. So it's like, do you have anything at lunch? And I'm like, I'm doing my show. So yeah, no meetings today, but definitely I got something.
No, I like that mythosaur you got on the back wall.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I tell you, my back tattoo is inverted shading, right? So instead of the mythosaur being drawn, the area around it is darkened, right? So that
and then we have the they're over here. We have the
right behind you. I see it. That's why I'm saying something. So I have a mythosaur tattooed on my back and the back of my neck and the upper half of my shoulders, and around it I have Morior Invictus and Victus Mineo. Death before defeat, I remain undefeated. It's the Roman army's marching mantra. So anytime I see someone who has that, that's the badass, the man. I've had that tattoo for years and years, long before The Mandalorian was popular. I reckon
I really like the weapons are part of my religion thing, because that's that I resonate with that. So
warrior, like, that's the thing, man. People forget because we lack certain feedings of certain parts of our mentality and social structure at this point because of the way we are. That's one of the contributing factors to why Western culture always goes off the rails the way it does. Luxury breeds the necessity to create problems instead of dealing with the ones at hand.
Trump is a fascist because that is a pejorative you use to describe meanie heads you don't like.
Oh, I thought that was Nazi.
That is so awesome. That is so funny.
That's good.
That is
Dude,
great.
but do you really think that they believe the bullshit they speak? Like, seriously, it's a constitutional crisis. He's a fascist. We've never been this place. Dude, were they not here for the last 4 years? He's done nothing different, just faster, harder, and in a more extreme sense than what Biden did. Biden came in, fired everybody he didn't want. On day one, overturned every single executive order.
True. And he promised to do it, and he actually did it. And everybody was cheering about it.
They whistle Dixie. Oh, all these feds are crying and dying, and they don't have jobs, and how are you ruining all these people? First of all, like 80% of those people easy didn't vote for Trump, if not more, those feds. Because that's the difference in federal employment and political ideology. Republicans make up a super minority within the federal workforce, especially the bureaucratic workforce. Second of all, like, dude, why would anyone not take this man at exactly what he said he was going to do? Like, if you think he's going to be a fascist, right? Like, if you think he's that guy, then he's definitely going to do exactly this. Come in and smash up the whole system and make it that you can't take advantage of it anymore, and he has control of it now. So if you want to call him all these names, then you should have definitely expected. The fact that they didn't expect all this to be true, like you're saying, that makes me think that everything they say is bullshit and they don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. I find it really interesting that you have so much party line voting when it's obvious that the public has, basically mandated that what they want. And is it just me, or do you think it's just like a tremendously horrible look? The optics are awful that the Democrats are currently purposefully voting against the things that Trump is proposing, and they're getting passed anyway, right? Like it's not. This is all like, why not just be on the winning team? And the thing that blows my mind is these are the things that they say they want. They say they want to protect Social Security. They're always talking about how, the right wants to take your Social Security. The right wants to take your tips. They want to tax you to death. And then they come in and they all vote against tax cuts. They all vote against helping.
That's not what they're voting. Like, I know what you're asking, but that's not the reality we live in. The reality we live in is these people are voting against Trump. Listen to
right. It's not a good look, man.
Rational. Stop trying to assign rationale to it.
Dude, it's just not a good look, man. It's just
Dude, Ilham Omar is getting on Mehdi Hassan's fake ass news show on his fake news network because he can't get a job anywhere anymore, talking about how dumb Americans are, and the dumbing down of America is complete because Trump has a second presidency. It's not worth arguing with these people. Dude, when are Americans going to say, hey, you just don't have a place here anymore? But no, she's in a district that's completely filled with immigrants who feel the same way about our country she does. And they vote for people like her to root for the downfall, no matter what they tell you when they see you in the world, because their actions speak louder than their words. If they wanted these things in check, they wouldn't allow these people to be their leaders. Again, like, I'm sorry, it's clear that there are those who within are working against us, and we don't do anything about it. Fine. On top of that, the Uniparty is having its day robbed. The wild sex orgies are ending. What do you want?
I knew that Anson Knowles was going to tie it back to monarchy. He's a monarchist. He believes that we would be better served by a king.
We haven't left feudalism. My theory is that people talk about like these one. So the difference between me and Be Brave, for an example, right? Like, because that's a good one. He's all about there's one single group, or me and Zach is that there's one group, controlling it all ultimately. I view it more like nations, like remove nation states and think of feudalism without nation states. It's because now you just need enough wealth to get in the club. Once you have enough wealth, you're in the club, and then you can have all these people you lift up at your table. But it's all these tables with their people, right? Like, you're the noble of your self-made kingdom of wealth. You have all your people under you, and you ally with other guys like you, like Elon and Theo, right? Like all those tech bros aligning together. Zuckerberg now, right? Like, they're forming their own feudal bond, or consider it like noble treaties amongst each other. They have their own little kingdoms of wealth that stretch across the world. And they deal with nation states, all deal with them. They deal with like as entities, right? They're individuals who get to exist as an entity. That's what their wealth is. And that's what I mean. It can't be one person. It's all these competing interests. You have like people who eat from Soros's table and all those tables that feed off of that machine, right? And then some of them, sometimes they move more over to the middle or other table, right? Like, because you have 10 people in a room, you have 9 different opinions, right? Like, that's how it goes, if not 11. Yeah,
so I've heard that argument a lot. And the problem is, and this is why I think Trump is what we needed, but what no politician wanted. And that is, again, Congress for so long has basically been able to do whatever they want, right? They control the FBI, they control all of the police. Whether we like it or not, slowly but surely we've become a police state. Whether you want to believe that or not is irrelevant. It simply is. Anybody can be arrested for anything at any time, and it's just the way it is. But and you look at how they went after Trump. Look at how they went after Trump. They didn't go after Trump politically. They didn't go after his ideals. They didn't go after who he was. They didn't go after all of those things. They went after Trump legally with lawfare, trying to put him into jail, right? which is shockingly what various countries around the world do. So
I mean, it's not new for us either. It's
not, but it's. I mean, yeah, you could go back to like Harvey Milk and those guys, but
no. But what I'm saying is it's not like this is for me. The Trump lawfare is because of the height they went to. Right? We've never attacked politicians at this level, at this degree, but we constantly engage.
Well, we did. We used to, right?
No, okay. Well, in our lifetime, we never went out.
Right. Yeah, since the 50s, right? So
Right.
again, and that's what I said. Since the 50s, Congress really hasn't had anyone push back. So back in the 40s, when you had the JP Morgan Chases and you had Rockefellers and you had Vanderbilts, you had these very wealthy people who could push back against Congress. And Congress didn't really have a police force. They didn't really have, there was, they barely had the national bank or,
I mean, there were other negative traits. Like, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but for conceptually fair argument, there were other things that were wrong as a result of that problem.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
there's always problems, right?
There's
like
always a problem. Like,
there's
that's
no
all
utopia.
I just want to be clear is like that wasn't some, I know you're not.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a utopia, but I'm saying that, but Congress lived in fear of being voted out, right? Congressmen were afraid of the press. They didn't run the press, right? Congresmen were concerned.
Yeah, the press was crooked as fuck back then too in this country. Like open.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. And so it's as we've moved into modernity, starting with the IRS, ending up with Department of Homeland Security, we've just added layer after layer after layer of fuck you to the American people. Right? If you want to go after a U.S. congressman, good fucking luck.
Yeah, but
never see the inside.
That's why I prefer. I'm not too worried about elections because they come, they go. It doesn't matter how they get in. Once they're in, it's a problem. For me, it's that there's no recourse once they're in. So
yeah,
which
is why I think that Doge scares the shit out of them.
Oh, the party's over. All these slush funds drying up. You know how all this is fucking screwing them up? Because literally the World Health Organization is collapsing. It just shows you that all the crying and that we way overpay compared to the rest of the world for what it's worth. That's the first example.
Again, I've said for a long time that without the U.S. taxpayer, half the world collapses because a lot of modernity is built on the back of the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah, but okay, so can we have an alternate conversation I've always wanted to have with you?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead.
You're one of these people who are taxes pay the bills, right?
No, taxes don't pay the bills. Taxes are the way with which you are controlled so that they can continue to write checks.
That's a socio-political thing. I'm talking about economic. Forget about all the economically. If we were just talking about economic systems, what is the function of taxes in the United States of America? Well, in any currency issuer, honestly.
Was to pay the interest off of the loans that they
get. See, me and you see things differently. Not because I used to be like you, but now I work in an industry. I build software for an industry that makes me feel like the new monetary. Well, it's not even new monetary theory. It's the MMT theory now, right? Whatever monetary theory. Taxes are where money goes to die, where currency goes to die. That's it. That's really all it is. It's a method to control. I mean, I want lower taxes, blah, blah, blah. But taxes is just one outlet for a currency issuer to control hard currency's existence in the market, to control inflation. Because we don't take that, like, let's say we bring in $10 in taxes, right? Mm-hmm. We print $100 to pay the debt, right? Like automatically, we don't take that $10 and pay the debt with it. We say, well, we recovered $10. That means we can spend 10 times.
No, that's exactly right. But the reason that you have to do that is because you're giving a $500 billion grant or
right. No, whatever. I get all that part. I'm just trying to make sure that because for me, people don't understand taxes. Everybody thinks that if we have lower taxes, that would make our lives supremely better. The way the business is done in this country, if we lower our taxes too low, they don't bring in enough money back, and prices start to skyrocket because inflation gets out of hand. It's one of the key elements in this country that we keep a valve on inflation with, is that people have to pay a certain level of tax. I don't like it, but when you don't have hard currency base, when you're not based on something that isn't changeable, like gold or silver, right? Like when you don't have a commodity.
No, that's I see. That's I we'll deviate there.
I mean,
gold
you get
and
to
silver
borrow
only
more
have-
when you're not, but when you're borrowing all the time to print your currency, when you have to borrow to print, that's, you create this
right,
mechanism
and
to lock
literally
in
taxes are just the way that we pay the interest on what we're printing. That's
right.
it. There's no other
But
other
the problem
function
is
for tax.
we're addicts. So instead of taking that $10 in tax, the United States just says, no, we have $10 in the bank, so I can print $100 more to pay that interest payment. They don't actually use the tax money other than the reserve.
Right,
for
but
the
okay,
borrowing more.
bear with me a second. The problem is that, all right, let me put this in very simple terms. So let's say that I'm a bank, and you come to me and you say, I've got a job, I got a little bit of money, I'm willing to pay X amount, I need to go buy a car. I say, okay, here you go. Here's your 20 grand or whatever. And you make payments on it, but then you're like, hey, bank, I've made payments for a while and I want to buy a house. Can I have another 200 grand? Sure. I give you another 200 grand. And basically while in theory I'm creating that out of thin air, I'm really creating it on the idea that you're going to pay taxes back into the system. So you're actually paying for the money that you end up borrowing, whether you want to or not, right?
Oh,
So
I don't disagree with that.
and
But we're junkies for that system.
and the reality is that if you simply paid off the loan, all right. So let me do it. So you make your payments every month, and I take your payment, and then I have somebody else that I'm going to loan that money out to again, right? Like I loaned it out 10 times. Well, let's say that those people don't pay me back, and I don't expect them to. I just need you to keep paying me to keep the party going. And I can keep, and as the bank, I can just write it in how much I want to spend, because there are no real controls on what I spend, as long as I can show that I have you and maybe one other guy that's paying me some money every month, right? And I could solve that problem as the bank by calling all of that debt and either writing it off as bad debt and starting over, or just saying, hey, you got to pay me, and we don't give you any more money until you pay me. And that's what banks do all the time. Credit cards do it all the time. If you don't pay your credit card bill, they say, hey, pal, no more credit. You need to pay me. If you don't pay, if you don't pay them, then they cut you off, and then they take you to court and they get a judgment, and maybe they get their money, maybe not. The problem is that the government never does that. The government never asks for their mony back. And so
they don't want to. That's the whole thing.
That's why the system is that's why your vision of the system is accurate, is because they never get paid back.
That's my whole thing, is they're addicted to borrowing. So instead of taking the money,
they're not addicted to borrowing. They're addicted to giving money for nothing.
Yeah, they're addicted to creating currency, which is in essence borrowing.
Well, they're not creating currency. What they're doing is they're creating credit. The credit,
they buy a debt chunk and they get the bank,
right? And there's no currency to back it. There is physically not enough currency out there right now to back the debt. Which
there never was. That's the problem.
So that's, when we're talking about all of this stuff, you've got to. It's really easy to get sucked into the viewpoint that you have of, if there's no way to fix it. I mean, it just has to be this way. We have to have these taxes.
I don't think that it has to be this way.
But the reality is what Trump is trying to do, what the groundwork that he's trying to lay, is to reduce our foreign spending, right? Like, why the fuck, Gimpy, do we give the UK money? Why do we give them $300 million a year? Why the fuck would we do
slush
that?
fund. Dude,
Why
that's
would we give
slush fund.
Germany money of all fucking?
That's another person. So, well, dude. So again,
why do we give every fucking country on the planet
dude,
money?
I don't disagree with you.
And these are not, Gimpy, these aren't loans.
No, these are free pay.
They're grants. They're just here. Have some fucking money.
Very few countries actually get loans from us, and most of the time, when you borrow money from the United States, if you meet a certain set of credentials on the loan, you get waived on making any interest payments. So you never actually have to pay us back. It's like, I get that, but again, since there's no one here to argue the other side, world diplomacy isn't a straight line, whether we want it to be or not. As the taxpayer, it's not a straight line. So good intention, right? The road to hell is paved with good intention, right? So here's some good intention for you. We make a deal with Germany to have the base in Ramstein, right? We have the major Air Force base in Germany, Ramstein.
We don't have a deal with them. That's part of a treaty that they haven't even honored.
It's the treaty is the deal I'm talking about. We have a deal with them that allows us to keep, right? The treaty that allows us to keep the base there. But it's X amount of years later, there have been a million different administrations in Germany. They don't always want to keep the treaty. The political pressure ratchets it up. We needed a favor. They needed a favor, right? And eventually, out of goodwill, a slush fund is created. And again, I'm not saying I approve of it, but the intention initially, but then once it's created, then every politician who knows about it, they get their hooks in it. So it grows and it grows. So its scope goes from being like, let's say I needed to get $2 million into this country, just to get this deal done. Now there's $200 million in that package because 198 million of it is being spread out amongst all the corrupt people involved.
Well, hold on. Back up 1 minute. So here's a couple of things about that. First, Germany, no European country has any leg to stand on when it comes to not paying the U.S. back. I don't care about their administrations. They signed a treaty after World War II. Not one has ever repaid the U.S. The U.S. has never collected money for any of those things. And like the bases, like we own that land. That's not something that they did out of the kindness of their hearts. We fucking took Germany and we own that land. Now, obviously, politicians do political things to get cash put back, money, basically money launder cash back to themselves. And so, I'm sure that over the past 50, 75 years, some bad deals have been making. But that's irrelevant to the fact that we simply give these people money. They're grants. It's not like we're paying the rent on a base. I'm literally talking about.
No, they're buying their influence, is what I'm saying.
Just go look and look at it.
But that's my point is that so we haven't. Okay,
right.
I don't disagree with you. You understand I'm on your side of the argument.
Yeah. I get it, but it's very clear that this is not a quid pro quo. I do this, you do that.
But it's for
this
keeping
is simply
the base there, right? Like, so we need logistics in Germany to be able to support our base. Yes, we can fly pretty much everything in and out of our specific base because it's Ramstein Air Force Base, but not every base.
We have like 5 bases in Germany. I didn't know that, by the way. I thought we only had 1, but apparently there's like 5 bases.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we need logistics within the country to be able to move our trucks between the bases with the unrestricted act. Like, and I know that it sounds ridiculous to say that out loud. They're our ally. They should let us. But whatever. There's the price of doing.
None of that matters, Gimpy. Because again, none of that really matters because that has nothing to do with us just writing them a check every year for no fucking reason. If the money was like, hey, we're paying rent for Ramstein. If we're gonna buy, we're gonna buy from this warehouse. Okay, sure, it's a bad deal for us, but whatever. But literally, like the UK, like we just write them a check every year.
Yeah, like I'm against that sort of stuff.
And they call it aid. The problem is that
no, I get it. Like, and I get it, but it's to buy some of that stuff. Like, in my opinion, and you may or may not agree with me, is some of that money is shadow money. It's money that looks like
it mostly is.
No, I'm not just talking. I'm talking about the forward-facing stuff of it, right? Like its purpose is layered into these bureaucracies of the politics doing politics. And like I tried to say before, the road to hell is paved with good intention. I'm sure not every human being in politics is corrupt, and sometimes deals have to be made. But once that became the status of how business is done after the World War II ended, right? Like, America started buying leverage all over the world. I'm not saying I approve of that mechanism, but that's what we did. So it just turned into this endless siphon of money
Right.
flowing out of the country,
Yeah,
and
no,
now we're all
get
trying
that
to
part.
reclaim it.
I get that part, but I do agree that it's mostly corruption. I believe because and we know that because we have senators that go and representatives that go into office. They can make 100 and what do they make now? 180 a year,
$174,000.
174,000 a year, and they
Something like
at
that,
the
yeah,
end of their
somewhere.
first year they have $1 million in the bank.
Dude,
How
I like the
fuck do that
socialist ones who'd like to tell us, oh, we're not worth anything. Like Tim Walz and his wife, it's because they've outsourced all their money in ways they no longer have to report it. It's hidden away in triple blind trusts that they're no longer directly associated with, that they don't need to come to till after they're done in politics, because now they've learned how to become men and women of the people. Let's not forget.
And let's I'm going to pick on a specific point.
Oh.
And follow with me on this because
Sure.
I think this is my observation. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But let's look at Ukraine and the war in Ukraine. So remember, we had the war in Crimea at the closing days of the Biden Obama administration, right? So, and that was like a 7-day or 10-day war. It wasn't even really a war. It was just basically some, they drove some tanks across the border and parked it there and pointed guns at people. And that was mostly the thing in Crimea was all about holding the Ukraine and Crimea, trying to hold Russia up to basically greenmail them into paying more in taxes and fees and whatever for shipping oil across Crimea. That was a result of Hunter Biden, for example, and Burisma trying to make that deal happen. And then the next thing you know, the legitimately elected president of Ukraine is replaced in a coup by an actor with ties to Burisma. Trump gets into office, everything kind of ceases because he's not corrupt. He's not corrupt, and so they can't play the same games. As a matter of fact, he has a call with Zelensky and says, "Hey, you better put a new special prosecutor on this case investigating Burisma and all of this stuff out of Crimea and Ukraine because this is really fucked up." I'm paraphrasing. And then all of a sudden, Trump's getting impeached. Can't say things like that, right? Okay. So Trump leaves office, Biden's back in. Then what does Zelensky do like 2 days after Biden's in the office? He starts fucking with Russia. And let's just be honest, Putin's not a guy that you play stare down with because he's going to fuck you up.
Can I pause you right there? I'm not cutting.
Yeah.
You can continue. So two things. First thing is Zelensky wasn't the first president. A hand-picked puppet by what's her name? Freeland or what? Fuck.
So the legitimately elected president was
Poroshenko fled, and they put in, but it was picked by whatever her name was.
Zelensky.
No, it wasn't. Zelensky won. He wasn't the first one. They handpicked someone else. Then they have elections that elect Zelensky.
No, Zelensky's never been elected.
Yeah, no, dude. Okay, never mind. Not important. I just wanted to be clear. When you say that Zelensky started fucking with Russia, it means he started firing long-range artillery into civilian areas that they claimed Russian green men were totally occupied by pro-Russian civilians.
That's
what that to be.
That came later. That came later.
That's when Biden comes back. I'm saying that's how when you say Zelensky starts fucking with Russia, that's what it means. He starts shooting at what is
No, that's true.
People.
That's true. He told Putin said, if you restrict or close off our access to the deep water all season ports, I believe it's Stalingrad, Leningrad, they're all fucking grads to me. I don't know. Whichever fucking port it was. He says, if you do it, it's war. We will not tolerate this. Zelensky says, well, it's our ancestral land. We have these claims to it historically, what the fuck ever. And of course, Putin says, fuck that. Zelensky does fire missiles. You're right about that. He did. And Now, again, Zelensky was installed in a coup. He was never elected. And since he came to power, he's never allowed an election to be held. He is a legit dictator. Propped up by the US.
Dude,
but
no, Poroshenko was replaced Turkhanov or whatever. No.
Yeah.
Zelensky is elected in like 3 years later or 2 years later.
No. He came to power in a coup. He was never elected.
Yeah, he was, because this is a thing the Russians harp on. My wife harps on this shit. That's the only reason why I know. In 2019, he was elected by a landslide. He was. He beat Poroshenko, promising peace. That was his whole platform, is he promised peace, and then he immediately started shooting at the people.
Was it a legit election? Because
I have no idea. It's Ukraine. Nothing's legit.
Yeah, well, I mean,
dude, I'm just telling you
that
in 2019 is when just Poroshenko was, because the reason is it's more dastardly. Poroshenko was literally handpicked by our CIA to be president after the coup. Victoria Nuland picked him. There's an audio recording. You got to watch the Ukraine on Fire documentary that everybody calls Russian propaganda. But again, it's a literal audio recording of our diplomats during that Euromaidan. I only know.
Okay, so that he can't. All right, so Zelensky could not have been elected in 2019, and because in 2021, the Ukraine president. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. Hang on. Stand by. I'm trying to figure. All right, the Russia-backed Ukrainian president Yanukovych was ousted in 2014 during the Euromaidan. In 2019.
Petro Poroshenko was, but he's handpicked by Victoria Nuland.
Right. In 2014, Zelensky came into power in a coup. Then he was technically elected in a landslide victory. And you're right, he did promise
peace. And then he started shooting at his own people.
Yeah, then he started shooting because he said that he wasn't going to do that.
And and then that combined with the fact that all of a sudden now he's going to be an Article 5 country that all the countries can shoot at Russia. Yeah. I mean, that's what the Russians think. I mean, that's what my wife tells me all the time.
Moxie, are you talking about Jeremy Powell?
Jerome Powell?
Jay Powell. Only about Jerome Powell.
Yeah, is that the chairman of the Federal Reserve? I don't trust him. I don't trust anybody who wants that job, honestly. To be fair.
I mean,
look, dude, I think Ukraine is a shithole.
That dude's old, man.
We have no business being there.
Yeah. Anyway, so we've given Ukraine a bunch of money. You know what Doge has found out? Doge has found out that all of the money or a large percentage of the money that we gave them never made it to the Ukraine.
I mean, we've seen their oligarchs fleeing the country. The one minister's wife got caught with millions of dollars in American currency.
Yeah.
Crossing into Hungary or some shit.
Yeah. So when Doge started investigating, right? So it was supposedly it's like 257 million or billion. I think it was billion in cash or financial vehicles was transferred into Russia or Ukraine, pardon me, to fight Russia, in there to aid their citizenry during this unpleasantness.
Correct.
Now, and like 200,000 or 200 billion or whatever in war material, which was supposedly stuff that so old we just didn't care about it, whatever. Now the Ukraine has since said that they got only a small portion of that money and material, and they don't know where the rest of it went. So, and Doge is going to figure it out, obviously. This is going to be very interesting. I can't wait. This is what we've needed for so long. Is it's like a good spring cleaning where you throw open the shutters and you open the windows and you let the clean air flow in and all the dust, gets blown up into the air, and it's like
hopeful,
hanging
dude.
there glittering.
Dude, you have
Fucking
too much
awesome.
hope. I mean, I hope so. I want what you're saying. I worked 15 years as a government contractor. I'm sorry. I know how far these.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. It's
I know
so
how
bad.
far it is. There's no way. Okay, so here's a wild statement. It's good. So, can we have a thought experiment? YouTube, this is a thought experiment for educational purposes only. Nothing I'm saying here is to encourage anybody, right? Like, let's have a real
Right.
thought experiment, dude.
Yeah, this
Do
is
you agree
education.
that the opposition, we're not even going to call them anything right now. We're
Yeah.
not going to label it. Just call it the opposition to Trump's administration acts out of anti-Trump. That's the only rationale. If Trump says up, they say
Well, I
down.
think they're doing out of self-protection now. I would have agreed with
I'm
you.
not getting into their motivations per se.
Okay.
I'm just saying the rationale. It's not like I'm trying to do better for the people. No, if Trump says
Yeah,
up,
no,
they
it's
say down.
strictly survival, and
Right.
I hate Trump.
And they will say the opposite of whatever he says. So if he says that the moon is made of rocks, they'll say it's made of green cheese. No matter how obscene or insane that sounds, it's just because it's the opposite of what Trump said.
Right. And people that they said 4 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago, they said these people are outstanding, stellar human beings. Now they're scum of the earth.
Oh, right. Okay.
Gotcha.
Now, as we move along, do you believe the Democrats learned anything from as a party? Did they learn?
No,
anything?
and that's what's shocking me.
So they're, in your opinion, they're doubling and tripling and quadrupling down at this point in their methodology.
I don't know if they're doubling down for sure. And this is what's puzzling to me. This is why I posed the first question. Do they not understand the mandate that the American people have given our government? And it couldn't have been made any
They don't believe it. They don't want to believe it. Like,
and
they believe
well,
it.
I think you're assigning a lot of value system that doesn't exist. I think it's this simple. They're a kid who got caught stealing and lying and cheating on his history test. And he's standing there.
I think you're giving them too much credit.
I think they're standing there and they're trying to figure out which lie
They're not that. They don't think like that.
is going to get them out of this and put us all back to sleep.
See, me and you disagree on where they are. We agree that they're in the same, let's say, league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and you, they're different divisions. Because for me, it's not. I think they unwilling to admit that. So here's my thought experiment. I believe that if Trump says up, they'll say down, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
If he says back, they'll say front. And I believe that's an escalating set of rhetoric. So if he
It goes further.
I know that's too much. That's missing what I get what you're talking about. I want to stay on this one to show you something. This thought idea that I keep wrestling with.
Yeah,
so this is what I'm wrestling with. So if there's this escalating rhetoric, right? I sign an executive order, Trump, they take it to court. I take it to the next court, they take it to that. And eventually, if it all goes Trump's way, even if it's at Supreme Court level, he goes and he gets his way. What happens then? Then they're frustrated they lost. How many times can they outright lose before they come up with a new way to push back, right? So, like, name one of the things he did recently. For me, what I'm going to say is, like, that I find interesting. He was, with a swipe of a pen, he labeled a whole group of people terrorist organizations. He also labeled that foreign citizens who support known terrorist organizations can be deported summarily, right? These different things.
Mm-hmm.
You think if the Democrats don't, as a party at a national level, keep ratcheting this up and they keep calling a constitutional crisis and whatever, until there's a point where there's like the Democrats cross a line, something. And it doesn't even have to be a small one, a big one, right? Like just something that can be exploited. Like, look what happened in Canada. Here's my example. The guy messed up in French, even though everybody knew he just messed up his French. So the Canadian conservatives, they're smart. They know that they're just playing on the fact he can't speak French properly. But the conservatives around the rest of the world is, oh, he hates.
You got a TTS coming in, Gimpy. Stand by 1 second.
Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics donated $10. Super chat. Wish I could be on panel. Great discussion. Gimpy, your opinion on the Fed and specifically the CBDC? Me, abolish the Fed, ATF, so on. No on
No on the CBDC. Thanks for being on panel, Gimpy. So that it reads it in this really sultry British female voice.
Cool.
It's too bad you can't hear it.
That's a sweet feature. I mean, I
Yeah.
hate Steve. I don't believe in digital currencies. They're just slavery to ones and zeros. And no matter how, the thing I want to tell everybody, even if you're walking around with your crypto wallet on a little thing that only you can access or whatever, if the electricity goes out, your crypto is worth zero.
Well, crypto's just an easier way to track money.
No, I get that, but without electricity, it's 100%
Yeah.
relying on technology. So if technology becomes, and I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying in the world that it becomes a dystopic future,
Sure.
crypto ain't going to save you. Because some people seem to think that that's how it's going to be, but without power and internet and networks, like you need full functioning societies to use crypto properly. You need thousands of watts of. Never mind. I don't want to get into yes, no on a CBDC. In fact, I'm a Malay style guy for the size of the federal government. Just slash as much of it you can. We know that 70% of it went home for COVID, so I can see us dropping 50% of the government workforce.
Right. Well, that's
my thought experiment.
I like that a lot. The chat is going crazy. The chat is wild. I have not been reading the
Go
chat.
ahead. Yeah, dude, it's yours.
But Mr. Boulay, thank you very much for the $10 super chat. That's awesome. So Gimpy, let me ask you, man. Let me ask you this, because this is really kind of where I'm at on a lot of this, right? So I think I can see where you're coming from. Like I will grant you most of your points, except I don't think that the American people are going to let this go. The problem is that it's like pulling back the curtain on an illegal gambling operation, right? Or cheating, right? Once you're exposed for cheating or whatever, nobody ever goes back to the way it was before, right? Like nobody's gonna forget, for example.
Well, this is my thought experiment. This is what I'm telling you. See, you're going back to my point that I wanted to make. So with this behavior where the one side refuses to accept what you're saying and the other side is Trump, what happens when he waves a pen and labels the DNC a terrorist organization as a leverage control to make lawfare against them, seize their accounts? I posited that to the chat. What happens when Trump decides that the only way to deal with the Democrats and the interference they're running is to take them out at a national level with the swipe of a pen, which I don't know how legal or illegal it is and what he has to actually do to make that a reality. But with a swipe of a pen, he can name things terrorist organizations, allows their accounts to be frozen, restricts their business. And in theory, he can start targeting specific politicians for incitement, for violence.
Look at what he is
activities. Doing. I'm not saying I'm okay with that, but I'm just saying, like,
let's look at what he is doing, though, because I understand all the what ifs. I'm saying look at what he is doing. What he has done is he's put in Doge, and Doge is going around and they're finding the buried bodies. They're finding the hidden accounts. They're finding all of those things that we know exist, or a lot of us knew existed, but have been able to be hidden. You know, now they're going to wait till they start. Wait till later this year when they start going through the financials of these Congress people and figuring out where their money's coming from. And wait till that happens and listen to the screaming that you're going. You think you hear screaming now?
Oh, it's only beginning. But you know,
this is the drop in the bucket.
Doge? Do you know the funnest fact about Doge? Let me ask you this: who actually created Doge?
Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trump repurposed something that the Democrats secretly. This is a program that was so much a slush fund program that they repurposed to be useful. I know about it. I was once contracted under a sub program from it, right, to help fix Obamacare when it was first instituted. I worked on, one of the teams that helped reshape that technical support and the website, blah, 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 right? Anyhow, so they, how to put it, they took this thing, they made a superseding tiny little independent organization that could unify all IT systems within the civil government and the federal government and whatever, and have oversight to make sure that they were building things that they wouldn't have in a debacle like what do you call it? Like Obamacare again, where they spent billions and nothing to show for it. Yes, I am Ashkenazi.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
My family's from the Russian, Polish, German area. And then, and then they got it funded airtight for forever. That this
right,
one that Congress can never defund them.
Well,
no, they're paid out till the end of the contract. I think it's 2038 or something. Like the contract for this agency has a limit; it ends at some point, but it's funded the entire time, so it can do and he didn't even change the name. Doge is just he replaced with the D, and the thing stands for the U.S. government of whatever department. It's Doge now agency, dude. He must have been laying around at night thinking up ways to fuck these people over for what they did to him. And then when him and Elon
I said that the whole time.
I'm saying like him and Elon were sitting there on whiteboards drawing it out, flow charts. I
don't think it was him and Elon, but I'll go back to
because Elon is the one who gave him the access to the technical on it. Dude, the reason why he has so much power is he's using the thing that locks all the payment system, but he has hands-on direct.
Right. But I think this started a long time.
But once he got Elon in, Elon said to him, "Hey, dude, if we could get access to all the IT at once," he's like, "Oh, you know what? There's this thing that we have that we actually can do that." And he's like,
"Right."
And there's
obviously, but. So what I guess what I was saying is like way back when they started going after him that's when Trump started planning all of this, and Doge probably was like a blip on the radar, but he was 100% ready to go. I mean, what he's done in just the first 30 days shows you that he was ready. Dude, he hit the ground and he was ready.
How much influence do you think Barron has in all this? How much do you think Barron helped with this stuff? Because I feel like Barron's been integral in this second run.
Well, I would say Don Jr. is probably more. I think Barron's. Of course,
but they were already involved from the. I'm saying,
but Barron's like peripheral. I think Don Jr. is, and see, I think Don Jr. is probably more pissed than his dad.
That makes sense. Because he hates.
Yeah.
He's a bitter guy. He's like one of those bitter, don't ever piss him off. I'll never forget guys.
He is. No, and he's very, he's a very accomplished person. And I think Don Jr. I think the thing that people miss is, Trump is really bright. He's super, he certainly talented individual. But Don Jr. and Ivanka are both, and you notice they're not in the limelight this time.
No. They're staying out,
and that to me that says volumes. Like I think Don Jr. is like, I think he's having probably more meetings with Elon than his dad is. So we'll see. But I do think that the plan that he's got, I think he's doing great, and I think it's only going to get better because again, they're doing agencies right now. They'll be done with agencies in probably April or May. And then wait till they start doing individual congressmen's tax. They start going through the tax returns, the financial filings, when they bought stock, how they bought stock, all of that. Wait till these investigations start. You will hear screaming and whining like you have never heard before.
I hope you're right.
And
I mean, because I'm not again, after 15 years of living in the swamp, but not being a part of the swamp, right? Because as you know, federal contractors are second-class citizens. No matter how high up on the food chain you are, when you when you work there day to day, feds have a priority over you automatic.
Sure.
I think there are going to be a lot of attempts at backroom deals. There are going to be a lot I feel like a really good indicator is to see what really happens between now and then, right? Between now and the end of, let's say, the Defense Department, right? Let's see what they find in defense. Is it all eye candy shit, or do we see some real black book shit getting shut down that shouldn't be happening? You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying we'll know everything, but they're talking about transparency.
So the problem that I have is I think that the Department of Defense is going to be cleaner but it's going to be all the departments nobody's ever heard of.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but I'm saying like there are just certain things I think we're going to get to a point where they're going to be touching money that no one ever thought would see the light of day, and it's just you can't touch it. No matter what anybody wants to say as us, as individual taxpayers, the powers that be above us, those funds that flow, they'll never let those. There are just certain dollars that move that they're never going to stop moving. So when they find those dollars, I want to see what happens.
Let me throw this at you, Gimp. Do you think that the way that, from what Trump has already done so far, the way he's declassifying things, the way he is getting rid of this idea that just because it might be harmful to the American people, we don't say anything about it? Do you think that over the next 2 to 3 years before he starts having to run, especially leading up to the run for the president? I mean, he's not going to run, but whoever he endorses. Do you think I think what we're going to see is a paring of a slicing, a cutting of the government, not necessarily just to make it smaller, but to make it so much more transparent. Reports that are reports that for no reason are made secure are not going to be secure anymore. Information that there's no reason to hide, that we just did because it might embarrass a congressman, right? Or it might embarrass another country. Like, I think Trump's so full of I don't give a fuck that he's just going to burn it. He's just going to burn it to the ground. Now, obviously, the fight really is to get Congress to continue to vote with the bills that he wants put through, so that it becomes law and much harder to reverse than just an EO.
I don't disagree with that, but he's just going to do it by EO anyhow. He's going to try and do what Biden did. He's going to try and create a web of EOs that are hard to undo, because you can't things will be set in motion that aren't stoppable once they start or whatever. Like how he tried to bury the oil and gas.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I just think
sorry, go ahead. My bad.
I just feel like that it's I think Trump is. So originally, I thought Trump was kind of on a revenge tour, right? Because he's going after all the people that went after him. But I don't think it's just about revenge.
But I don't think that that's limited.
I don't think that's his main motivation. I think that he looked at it as
name on the side of the country. He wants to see Trump tattooed on the United States of America.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's more that it originally pissed him off so bad that they did it to him, but now it's a matter of he's going to do the right thing. He doesn't care who it hurts. He doesn't care what it burns down.
One day I wish to be optimistic. Like, you're a very optimistic fellow. Like, I'm a cynic. I'm sorry. Like, I don't disagree with you on principle. I want what you're saying, but I'm a realist.
But his actions are showing that.
Yeah, but he can't account for all the responses that are coming down the pipe. He's fighting the whole world at this point.
Yeah.
Do what he's doing. He's fighting.
The only way that he's able to do that is because he believes he's right.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he doesn't believe that, but he can believe that he's right. But the whole end goal is to still have Trump tattooed on the side of the United States. Again, I'm not against that either. If that gets us to a place that America's better for everyone and the whole world safer for it, sure. I care it says Trump on the side of the country. My point is that you can only control so much. Everything else is a response. And as well as you're successful in business. There's only so much planning you can do. Everything else is dealing with the facts on the ground. So the facts on the ground are rapidly changing. They can only account for so much willingness. There's a willingness in Europe to literally suicide itself as the EU, to suicide the whole EU to stand up to Trump. This is what I was trying to postulate earlier. Here's another example of it. They're no for no's sake, right? Trump says yes, they say no. The doubling down is they're just going to keep stopping.
Sure.
And they're willing to be suicidal about it. How far are they willing?
They are being suicidal about it.
Are they willing to tear apart NATO, to go to war with Russia, so that they can circumvent America just to prove Trump wrong? Some leaders are already trying to maneuver for that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, we clearly.
No,
see
Gimpy, bro, I agree with you.
So what happens
You
if
can
that
just look.
happens? Trump can't account for that. That changes the dynamic. He has to then address this.
No. I don't think it changes that. I think he knew that going in. I think he's prepared for it.
Then if you're right, then we're gonna have the greatest golden age. If you and CT are right, then this is the golden age of golden ages coming.
I understand where you're coming from, but it's just it's just look at what they're doing to themselves. Do you know how hard it's going to play on all of these Democrats when it comes up, when mid-years hit, and they're
too much credit. So many Democrats are sheep that will just end of the republic, Constitution.
Yeah, but they're look. I'm just telling you, literally every one of them, every Democrat voted against
no tax on tips, no tax on overtime.
Everyone.
I get that. But you do understand that we're not in a point of rational thinking as a populace.
But
you're very rational.
How did Trump get elected then?
Because
how did Trump
played on perfect emotion that makes you think it's rational. He rode the emotional wave that everyone.
I did not make an emotional decision to vote for Trump.
But you don't make an emotional decision about even which food
that's true,
pick, bro.
You're not. That's true.
You're not the rest of the 80-20 rule will always be in effect. And one of the things is amazingly enough, you'll be one of the few what they call the time. That's all I'm saying. Like, dude, that doesn't mean that the average guy who can't read at any grade level, let alone grade level, he maneuvered. It was the greatest sales pitch ever. He came at the American public in just the right ways, from social media to mainstream to his attitude to his campaign platform, that everyone thinks they're making a rational decision when really they're purely acting on an emotion of this guy is going to change everything because it is such a fucking mess now. And this is the only guy who can do it. He has the wherewithal. He beat them in the courts. He beat them when they tried to shoot him. Everything is an emotion. It's not, we trying to tell ourselves it's rational, but he has.
Okay, but hold on. I gotta say, man, I agree that yes, certainly some people did, but I was one of the ones that was like, he said, I'm going to do this my first 10 days. And I believed him. And you know what happened?
Everybody. And he did it.
He did exactly what the fuck he said he was going to do.
Promises kept.
Every bit of it.
Promises made, promises kept.
Every bit of it. And you know how, do you know why that's significant, Gimpy?
Because it makes people believe in him.
Because no other politician fucking does.
Of course, because it makes people believe in
Nobody does that.
You know how much I use that meme where it's the guy smiling between the two chicks who are terrified on their face, and it's me every time Democrat sees something Trump does, right? Like, I use that meme regularly. I troll them every time. Have you met? My favorite thing is, all these Trump voters have buyer's remorse. Have you met one Trump voter, one person who voted for Trump? In fact, I met people who didn't vote for Trump who are happier now with what's happening.
Dude, I know so many people right now that are flabbergasted as to what is going on. Like literally, Imperius is saying that liberals are going after Bezos. I have seen that. I've seen that exact thing.
This is what I'm saying. It's all muting down. Bernie Sanders is all of a sudden the top of the pile again. That's how you know.
But Sanders won't run again.
Dude, we can only hope.
I mean, I wish Sanders does run again because nobody will vote for him. But we're going to get somebody like Newsom or somebody.
No, Gavin's done. You know how you know he's done? He's trying to save his career with a podcast. Dude, he's starting a whole new podcast series where he's going to talk to the public and have a panel.
Well, okay, so understand that part of the reason that Newsom's doing all of this stuff is because he almost went to jail 2 years ago.
And then the fires.
And then, for the train that goes to nowhere, he's still dodging charges on that.
Dodging. There's no way he's getting.
It should at some point go to court. It hasn't yet, but they're Newsom. If he doesn't beat this case, he's going to end up in jail.
Pritzker might. The dark horse for me is that fat ass out of Illinois, Pritzker, right, or Michigan, whichever. Like the
Whitner.
No, not the lady. The fat Italian Pritzker or whatever.
Oh, I don't know
that guy. Because he's trying to make himself to be a counterweight to Trump as a governor. He's a dude. He's unknown. He doesn't have all that like as a centrist candidate.
Yeah.
I'm saying he's a dark horse for them. I'm worried about any of these governors that are trying to start this nonsense now that don't already have long-standing national attention. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's going to try and take a notch out of the belt on him in these first 2 years. Because if you can establish yourself as the guy who you want tapping you when you're running in 2026, right? Those midterms, and you want endorsements from certain, up and coming, you want to be that guy. I would imagine they have no leader on that side, especially since Kamala Harris keeps topping polls.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. But right now, I think that the next 3 years are going to be a roller coaster for the Dems.
Dude, I don't think we get out of this year. I think we kill off half the country with aneurysms and heart attacks by the end of this year.
Could be.
I'm just saying, like, I don't see how.
I mean, he's already got like the high. I mean, I understand that you're talking emotional, but dude, didn't he just like last week or 2 weeks ago have the highest approval rating of any president ever?
You know what? I don't pay attention to those polls, to be fair, because they come so fast.
No, I get it. I'm just saying. I mean, it was.
It could be, dude. What I'm saying is
somebody
that
70%
of the country approve of the things he's doing. The thing is that now they're seeing the after effects, people losing their jobs, whatever. Once we get over that like gut wrenching period, that's why he's trying to do all this up front now, so that in 2 years and a year and a half when running, it's already behind us. It's into the next cycle.
Yeah. Well, but I think the people that needed that have been fired are.
Dude, I feel bad for them because they're people, they have jobs, they have families, whatever. But I apologize. But as a American, you should not want the federal government to have 1 million plus employees. That makes no sense, especially when we literally were able to send 70% of the workforce home and the work still got done. The government didn't go out of business.
Yeah, but do you know why? Do you know why we know that that Trump is just a fucking great lay? Because literally all the Democrats are blowing their wads right now. They're all protesting like but this is what I'm saying. Like, this is my point. How do they not end up doubling down so fervently on these emotional responses that they don't incite a violence? Like we had the summer of. Oh, this is rote. This is
but I'm basing this on very simple stuff, right? So let's just make a false, simple thing. There's some sort of immigration issue. Something happens. Someone dies. They turn it into the George Floyd effect. There's all sorts of riots, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It just ends up escalating. And then all of a sudden you find AOC in the middle of one of these George Floyd style riots where they're burning shit down and she's screaming, burn, burn, burn. And then he decides, you know what? DNC is a terrorist organization. AOC.
Yeah, but he won't do that. He can't do that. He won't do that. But I tell you what.
He easily can do that. That's the problem.
He can, but he won't. I didn't say he couldn't. I said he won't. I said he won't do that.
They're burning down cities and encouraging it.
Well, no, he will definitely. Any organization BLM will.
What happens when you catch? We already have hundreds of hours of them half pushing violence. What happens when they're so fervent, because already they can't go 5 seconds without posting something to the internet, emotionally screaming at Trump. All of them, all the leadership, all the Democrats, they can't figure out how to be calm at all. Everything is the world.
Gimpy, bro. Hang on a second.
No, I'm just trying to show.
Yeah, no, I got you, bro. I got you. Just hang on one sec. So here's first of all, let me read this. Agropoulos has finally shown up. Good day, everyone. He has arrived. Good to see you. Grid one, that's me.
No, that's what GTSY means. I never knew.
That was the whole TTS. It didn't read though. It didn't TTS. It's $9.99 and below. I set it so that $9 should trigger.
Is that what you use for streaming? Lets you do that, like this platform that we're on.
Yeah.
Studio.
So it'll do TTS.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing about like BLM and all those groups. First of all, definitely he can label BLM a terrorist organization for sure. It's no problem. The real issue is that, or it's not an issue. The thing is that BLM won't. I don't think they'll do that because they don't have the protection of a Democratic president to keep them out of jail.
True.
That's the thing, right? Like everybody predicted that in the first Trump presidency, right? that they were gonna do all these riots and all that, but it didn't happen because Trump would have ordered the National Guard in. He would have ordered the police to lock people up and track people down. So it's I get where you're coming from, and honestly, if Biden was in, if we had an Obama in, I would 100% be on your side, but not the way it's going now. And I think that's why you're not seeing overtly aggressive actions. Plus,
from who? Overtly aggressive actions from who? Because they already have
well, they're protesting, but they're not like burning shit down like they were.
I mean, they're getting more destructive, not less. They just had a whole issue on one of the campuses in New York, Barnard or whatever. They seized the building. They protested in. It was bad last year and it's settled down since over the summer. But that's not my point. My point is, very calmly, because I was just getting hyped as I'll show you how they were acting. But like when you have it that every day AOC goes to her millions of followers and literally emotionally tells them the world is ending and how everything is over.
Sure.
And she keeps ratcheting up her rhetoric, and it's spread out across the entire Democratic apparatus because no one's in charge. They have no one running the ship. I mean,
well, here's the thing, though. When AOC is being investigated for whatever fraud, grift, whatever, then she'll really ratchet up, and she'll look even more insane than she already does. And this is not a good look for the Democrats. So the problem is that the Democrats themselves is a small portion. The moderates are the ones that are the voting masses. They're the ones that really care. The Democrats are not doing themselves a good service right now. They are literally they're literally proving out Trump's entire point and argument, and that is that these people are insane and they do insane things, and they're just going to keep doing insane things. So.
No, dude, I get that, brother. My point is I don't think they're willing to recognize how much they're fucked, right?
Oh, no, they definitely don't.
Right.
I agree with you there.
This is my rationale is
sure.
A person unwilling to recognize they're the cause of their own demise turns into their own poison, right? In an age where it's going to become increasingly okay, let's say some sort of terrible thing happens, not related to like a terrible thing inside our borders. You understand what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep the algorithm clean, right? Foreign entity type terrible thing, but not a war thing, right? Right? We all understand a single event, maybe multiple events, whatever.
Sure. No, I get it. Yeah.
But at the same time, you have a political craziness coming from the left. And then there's some loosely
But it's always there.
No. But then there's some loose ties between, let's just say, because these people don't, you agree that people are more radicalized today as a whole than ever before as of recent history.
More radicalized?
Yeah, people are more radical in their belief systems.
I don't know if I would say, no, I would disagree with that. I would say that most people are probably more polarized, but not radicalized.
Okay.
I think the radicalized people are actually a much smaller percentage than what we think of. And when the money gets turned off, the problem that I have with all of and I've heard other people say kind of what you're saying it a little differently, and I'll give you credit for that. But the problem with a lot of these protests and a lot of the, like the reason that they were able to break windows in DC is because there were literally pallets of bricks delivered, at the end of the block.
No, and we know now that they were using our own tax dollars against us. No,
right.
I understand that part, but that's
when you cut off that funding,
that's a limited impediment. What I'm saying is that you agree that there are many activists on Capitol Hill amongst the staffers, amongst Capitol Hill representatives.
They're all activists.
But okay,
that's why they're there.
It could be posited that someone who works out of a left-leaning senator or congressperson's office could have some sort of ties to something inadvertently, right? Because of their nation of origin or their family or something. and you have enough of these negative events play out, the public will cry out for a response. And that response might be to take that sort of action that you're saying would never happen because not dumb enough, right? Like my thing is
Yeah, I think that you're going too far. I think you're going
right,
too
like
far.
I get that, but like
I understand.
That's what I'm worried is that it gets away
Yeah.
from us because we're playing with fire in a way.
No, we're not playing with fire. We're actually playing with
the
water.
most resistant.
We're putting that shit out. We're playing with water. Go ahead. Could you read that for me, Gimpy, since that's more or less addressed to you?
$5 from Anson Knowles. My father is a Zionist Christian. I disagree with his dogmatic religious way of looking at foreign policy. What do you think of Zionism, Gimpy? Oh, I'm a Zionist, dude. Sorry. I mean, a lot of people don't like what I have to say. I'm a fundamentalist when it comes to Zionism. Go look up a guy named Rabbi Meir Kahana. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says, but the concept that of a one Jewish state, not a theocratic state, but again, I'm a big on his security stances and understanding that your enemy is going to be your enemy, whether you want to make peace with him or not. Stuff like that concept, and that Jews have to fight back instead of letting everyone else make the decisions for them. The theocracy, not so much my speed, but go check out Rabbi Meir Kahana and understand that him and a guy like Rabbi Cook, some things you want to learn about actual what it is to be Jews on the right side of things instead of what you see in the media as left-wing Jews. You should understand that the rise in right-wing Judaism now is causing a civil war in Jews, within the Jews. I've never seen so much fear of left-wing Jews losing control of the narrative like you see now on left-wing Jewish social media. Because that name I said,
you guys have to take it first.
Yeah, no worry. That name that I said, if a left-wing Jewish person heard it, they'd be all over it that I'm endorsing a racist, bigoted terrorist. I know a lot of Soviet Jews who would say he saved their families. So you guys can decide. Go learn about him. What's up, Clover? I love your profile picture.
Hey, man. I don't know why Grid brought me up. I feel like he just wanted to hear me spurg about something, probably.
No, not Spurg. I just saw you out there. I thought, first of all, I thought you would like the new additions to the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's looking good.
I'm not done yet. I got it. It's too. There's too much light bouncing off of that white wall, but we'll fix that.
I'm liking I like the Mandalorian thing, and then you got I like it.
Cool.
You have very nice guns.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a pretty good collection. We'll rotate them through. The problem is that since I'm not focusing on them, you can't tell. You won't be able to tell as easily when I rotate through, but it'll be fine.
I hope to buy one day. I'm working on it. I'm saving up.
Yeah,
dude. Can I just rub it in Imperious's face? No, you can't come up here. Yes, we all hate you.
Yeah, so I get where you're coming from, Gimpy. I really do. But I look back. I have to look back to history, and I look at like Chaz, for example, right, and Chop, and that to me, that's something that was such a black eye on the Democrat Party that they don't want that to happen again. There may be a few like AOC and Ilhan Omar and those, but the vast majority of the Democrats in Congress don't want that because that's how people lose their seats. That's what makes the mainstream voter not vote Democrat. So it's a very interesting.
No, I agree. Historically, you are correct. So again, this is where me and you differ on a fundamental. You're an optimist. I'm a cynic at a core level. So for me,
I'm a stoicist. So
I also believe in the stoicist. I'm a Marcus Aurelius stoicist. Meditations is my jams for all you people who want an education on being human. But I'm a fucking cynic, dude. I'm sorry. History doesn't account for the fact that we're so dumb and lazy now and stupid and waiting for.
We're dumb and lazy then?
Yeah, but
I'm a realist.
Avenues to over-exasperate. I don't even know what the right way to say it is, but like to make confirmation bias into these massive echo chambers that we're doing. And like you can rile up a small percentage of the population and then get a bigger percentage than the percentage that's riled up to run cover for them, because they just are going to do the opposite of what some dude says, right? Like, so you can create these events if you, and again, this is the early stages. We're not 2 months into Trump's president, right? We're just over the month mark, basically, for his president. As he ratchets this up, as you said, the natural progression of this is going to turn the heat up. The more it cooks in that oven, the more they're going to try and fight for their life, right? I'm not saying he doesn't have a plan, and I'm not saying don't trust whatever plan he may. I'm just saying.
Okay, well let's make a couple of clarifications here. First, politicians fighting for their lives is literally the weakest possible thing you've ever seen in your life. They're going to cry, whine, and beg,
It's not,
and then blackmail, and then they're not going to. You're not going to see. You are not going to see a congressman taking to. You're not going to see all of the Democratic congressmen taking to the streets and protesting the fact that they've been taking money and they got caught. This is what they're at best. They'll try and deflect. They'll deny. They will try and make a backroom deal. That's what's going to happen there. Now, can they mobilize? Can someone like AOC mobilize a bunch of morons? For sure, absolutely. And they are absolutely have radicals out there that will do the thing. The problem is that literally everything about today's society says that that's just not going to happen. Cynicism or otherwise. Realistically, just being a realist and looking at the reality of today is that people are trying to stop trucks from delivering chickens and shit. And truck drivers are basically not stopping. They'll just keep driving. Like, if you're stupid enough to lay down in the road, you're going to get run over. This is America's fed up, Gimpy. Normal America has had
exactly
a fucking enough, and there's a lot more of us than there are of them. There always has been.
The case. But
Sorry,
I'm with CT on this. I'll be fair. Most people are cowards. We talk big. A lot of people talk big on the internet.
Sure.
But most people end up being absolute cowards.
Sure.
And honestly, I couldn't tell you which one I'm going to be till someone's pointing the gun at me, right? I'll let you know after that experience. But the truth is that I don't trust people. And I also believe that certain people are bad faith actors from the start. It won't take turning the screws to get them to be, it'll just take them to be worse. So I think that it's beyond a person to rile up their 1 million followers to try and incite violence because they're on the other side of possibly going away for 30 years, for some corruption charges. Yeah. I think that they can convince people that what's happening is really an affront to every American. And these are them trying to show how, us doing our jobs and blah, 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 and turn it into a whole, because that's all they do is talking word salads to convince these people. Think of it as the Gematrians, and I'm not even trying to bring them up other than it's a perfect thing, right? When he was in that debate the other night, Zach, when the dude, no matter what they think that they won, when the dude asked him a straightforward question, why is A and B related? He came back with C, D, E, F, and G are also related, not why A and B are related, right? And he could never be. And then when you ask him, why do you think you won? Is, well, if you can't see the connection between A through Z, because they all have the same random number that I can't tell you why I assigned a metric to it, other than it's a ritualistic number we see over and over again. I mean,
yeah, dude, I don't know if you stuck it out until I got on there.
AOC will talk to her followers like that, convince them.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There aren't enough of them anymore, Gimpy.
No, but there's enough.
And normal America's tired of it. The problem is that
how many of the people who are tired of it are really going to do what's necessary? And I'm not saying
it doesn't need. What do you mean, do what's necessary?
Not
literally. Normal America is going to look at protesters, and they're not. What's happening right now with protests? What's happening? Nobody even knows they fucking exist. They don't know. Do you know why? Because normal America gives zero fucks. They're sending in cops now. They don't have people going.
That the attitude on the ground has changed in some places.
Look, I'm just telling you, man. You're saying that like someone like me is going to go down and confront BLM. No, I don't have to. because normal America says, fuck it. We're going to send the cops after you, and we don't give a shit if they arrest you because you're breaking the law. And that's the reality that we live in today, Gimpy.
I am on your side. That's
the reality we live in. Now, I agree with you. Back in the Obama years, when Obama was like, you can't touch those people.
Look, dude, I hope you are right. But let me say it now.
Do you honestly think Trump...
This is my dark horse prediction.
No, I got you.
We will see a day where somehow we got to this insano scenario where 5% of the nation is literally holding the other 95% hostage over just saying the opposite of whatever Trump says. That's my fear.
But they're not holding us hostage.
No, today they're not. But they're trying to do that.
It'll never happen. It'll never happen. It'll never happen.
I hope so. Like I said, I hope you're right. But my dark horse prediction is that that's going to take some heavy lifting. Because
that's the kind of rhetoric, though, that people talk about the I don't know if we're allowed to say what we're allowed to say anymore, but like the people that all these morons that talk about the small hats controlling everything and all of this little secret society. And I'm like, no, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, that's dumb. That's just not how that works.
Dude, it would make no sense if that's how the world worked, because then they're the dumbest people ever. They just keep making mistakes. And all these people are walking around figuring out their ciphers and their codes and their this and their that. It's not like that
stupid thing,
in a vacuum, or any of these people exist in a vacuum. Everybody thinks they have the answer and the secret key to how the Illuminati run it all, and how the president is really a cyborg robot lizard man from the middle of the universe, the hole in the center.
That would be cool, actually.
All these things are untrue, but
cyborg president would actually.
First of all, I want to say my face is not a one-hit kill. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it, Imperious. You got it. I've been reading the chat in there.
Oh, I don't know.
I know it's fine.
I'm not really reading. I'm not really reading the chat until you say something, and then I look over.
Yeah. And I like this one hits Imperious only if he's wearing his lucky stabby nose. See, that at least hit with the joke.
Lauren B says that she would not drive over anyone.
Oh, she has a moral conscience. I'm proud of her.
I don't.
This is what I'm saying. I have hope. This is where I have hope.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, and I don't think King Shinar did the strike. I have a very specific theory. Imperious to that I won't say on air. Sorry.
I missed I don't know what he's about. But hey, let me ask you something. So did you stay for the other night when Zach and I were like I was on
there
the
for 2.5 hours of it. If it didn't happen,
so I was up there with Zach, and every time anyone would ask him a question, he would literally talk for 5 minutes.
Okay, but that's not new.
And I was like, holy fuck, is he really doing this? And then somebody else would say, Zach, just make a prediction. Or actually, what prediction? They would say, what prediction of yours came true? And he would list off some random bullshit and do this whole circular Spurg, kind of circle. And I'm like, fuck, this is getting old. And I made a few jokes, and he kind of ignored me. I don't know why. Probably because I've been on CTs, and he's seen me there. But the funny thing is that at the end of it, I was like, "Hey, Zach, just make who's gonna be in the Super Bowl this year? Can you make that prediction for me? Can you give me the Super Bowl? Who's gonna be in the Super Bowl?" And he started the thing, and 5 minutes later, he still hadn't said a name of a team, and then back. A couple more minutes went by and then nothing. And I'm like, this is fucking boring. I'm going to go have adult activities with my wife. And I punched out. And
it's too much fucking math for me. Like,
it's not math.
There's no math. There's no math.
So hold on. This is my pet peeve.
Fucking numbers. That's math.
No. But this is my pet peeve. See, this is where he would have me. I want to believe him, honestly, because it sounds so interesting. I'm not against believing gematria that he made up is real. Right? He might have some Rain Man thing where he sees the world. This is what I tried to explain to CT. I don't know that it's gematria or it's the Jesuits. I think it's more John Nash, A Beautiful Mind shit, where he's seeing this because he has some sort of super autism power, autistic smart. Like he sees patterns that only
pattern recognition.
Right, and he's recognized, and the only way he can tell it to us normal people is to come up with this contrived gematria nonsense because he read in a book and it allowed him to speak a language to other people to get the information out of his head. It's a series of events where you have trapped information, you create a pathway to release it. I forget what it's called in psychology, but like that's what gematria is. I don't have a problem. He might be fucking John Nash. I'm not denying that. But when you ask him a question like earlier, how are A and B related? He can't tell you that. He just gives you C, D, E, and F and how they share that same number. Then when you look at the metric for how he picks numbers within the same quote unquote decode, it shifts. It can be, let's just say we're going to use time, right? So it'll be weeks, days, months, years, minutes, seconds, whatever, just so that it fits. There's no like rhyme or reason. You can't say like I've tried. I've said, why did you go from days to minutes here? Why aren't they all days, right? Like, because if it was a decode, it would be a universal. The number itself can't be a universal. That's the result. Finding the number.
Like he shifts the root or the base, right?
Right. You have to have like a constant of how you're
Yeah.
extracting the decode.
The
And
constant.
it can't be
Yeah, he
that I'm
shifts the
using these
constant.
4 different ciphers randomly at will to make it fit. Right? Like that's what I want. I want a unifying theory of math that comes like so that it's math, that it's actual fucking math of some kind. It's an actual decode. It's not randomly. And then the argument isn't, well, if you can't see how all these things are related, you're just stupid, right? Because that's the final blow every time. I am a fan. I ask my questions of him in good faith. Yes, I know they'll trip him up. But I wish that he would recognize that they're a good faith question and try and actually answer it instead of give gematria babble. And that's the problem. That's why I felt he lost that night. It's not that he doesn't present a good case. It's that he never answers the actual question being presented to him, ever. And when you ask him about his failed predictions, it's all about how it's everyone else's fault. I mean, that's the simplest way to melt it down. It's always about passing the buck. Because he promised, come up, Greg, we know 2 continuous predictions he made. Kamala Harris, they'd swap her in real quick to be the first female president. Never happened. He swore by that. That one way or another, that was a real thing. There was never even a murmur of it. And
that's true.
2, the Chiefs would win. And he made all these parlay bets, whatever, and he got all this money. But he said for months and months and months on air, all over before the season, you'll see the Chiefs. Here's the gematria. There's hours of footage about the Chiefs, and then they got spanked. And then when you ask them about it, it's how they got spanked is gematria.
Yeah.
So
hey, dude, it's just a con job. Anson Knowles comes in with a big $5. Gematria is as useful as using your astrological sign to determine how you'd feel if you didn't eat breakfast.
You know, I don't know that it's completely useless in the sense that, you know, depending on what you're wanting to do, if you're, you know, you do your homework, right? And as Gimpy pointed out earlier, recognizing pattern recognition is a human condition.
Sure.
Right. It's one of the great skills that at least most of us have to some degree. And so understanding that and applying that, now don't get me wrong, I don't say you hang your hat completely on that part of it. But after you've done all your other homework, let's say predicting who's going to be in the Super Bowl in the preseason, at the preseason level, right? You've researched all your teams, you know all the trades, you know the health of all the players, you've done all of this. Now add that shit on top of it, the numbers game, whatever the fuck, right? And see how all of that works out with the information that you've got, you've obtained so far. Like, I mean, that could potentially increase your odds, but it's still a gamble.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't buy any of it. Like, I don't believe there's some secret Jesuit system.
You're right. I agree with you. I want to add something to Clover's take. You're not taking into account that he promotes that this gematria exists not as a way to predict things, but as actually a mechanism that's built into these events because they're all scripted by a group called the Jesuits. Now, if you just do it, no, sorry.
Yeah, I've heard him say that. Yeah, no, I've heard him say that. Yeah.
Clover Tack, you want to take this one?
That I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong. Correlation does not mean causation, and gematria isn't inherently fallacious. Okay, that's big words that my redneck ass don't understand. So go fuck yourself,
Basically,
man.
he's just saying
Go,
You just got out redneck by redneck in Alabama.
go drink milk from your cat bowl, man. Leave me alone. But no, that's true, and I don't follow the guy. I mean, I've seen
No,
him
neither do I. But
on
I'm just
his
saying
stuff.
your explanation works till you take it one step further, like he does, and say that everything is fake. I mean, the gematria is him decoding the fakeness. That's why I keep attributing it
Yeah.
to a John
I call
Nash
bullshit.
style
I call
syndrome
bullshit
because
quick
he's
on that.
seeing something there.
Yeah.
Like CT talks about it, man, and it's not to be against him. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, like, if you found these Jesuits, that would ruin his grift. The grift only exists as Jesuits are out there to haunt them. Like, it's the same thing for any of these groups who blame some other group for all their fat, right?
Yeah.
You get rid of that group. Are they better off? No, their whole grift is gone.
I thought the Jesuits were largely like disbanded. Are they still a thing?
They are. They're teachers. They run schools. They're the part of the Catholic Church that do the educational branches of it, and like that's where they're like, dude. That's why he also correlates people being Jesuits because they went to a Jesuit university or Jesuit private school as a child. You know, like that's like saying everybody is a Catholic because they went. All the kids, you know, because they went to Catholic school. My wife teaches a Catholic school. 2/3 of her class are not Catholic. They just want a cheap private school.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, I mean, it's like. I hate to break it to everybody, but like there isn't one world order running things. At best, it's a whole bunch of competing rich people trying to have their say over things.
And that's valid. I mean, there's a predicting, and maybe that's what Anton was getting at. Predicting the future is much different than saying the future is already dictated.
Written, and that's what he's saying is that everything is fake. Sports are fake. Award show, and I'm not saying some are and aren't. I'm not getting into it, but he's literally saying every aspect of our lives are being scripted to us by a group in order to control us.
Well, I've read stories about people that were able to predict things. You know, Edward Casey was one of them, but it makes you wonder. And if you delve into enough science, and you get into like dimensional science, right? Space time and all this other stuff. It's like, could part of the human mind be able to somebody out there, and it would be a genetic mutation, I would think, of some kind, that part of your mind or whatever is unlocked, and in certain circumstances, under certain occasions, and maybe most people don't even know how to tap into it, right? But every now and then you get somebody that in a specific situation for a specific time and space, right? Like they're able to plug into that for a minute, and at that point they're able to actually like legitimately predict that. Now, how do they prove they did it, or how does it, you know what I mean? The whole idea of believing that they predicted is something totally different than did it happen. But it's a conceivable notion if you start thinking about space time and multi dimensions and things like that.
No.
Okay. Can one of you guys read the super chat?
$5 from Anson Knowles. Thanks for all the hookup, brother. Grid really appreciates it. Please have inherited their desire. People have inherited their desire to seek knowledge by inspecting tea leaves and entrails. Gematria is numerical mysticism. Evolution is imperfect. Yeah. It's totally a grift. I mean, again, but I don't think it's like, so for me, let me reiterate. I'm not like CT. I'm not just going to say it's a whole grift. I think he's John fucking Nash, people. I think he sees the patterns to existence and as things, and somehow he can associate this. And like 70% of the time, he's getting paid. But the fact is because he can't show me how the metric works in his head, I can't trust it. Because
so what you're saying,
good from bad without it.
So what you're saying is that he has a very weird, whatever it might be, autistic, whatever way of thinking, the way his mind works, and his best way to explain that is gematria.
Because he read these gematria books about this guy who invented gematria for English instead of using like with the bot, right? Because gematria is a biblical thing with the Jews and the Torah.
Right.
And Holy Scripture is written by God, blah, 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 Kabbalah, whatever, right? he has reinvented it based on this like 1900 something, like 30s, 40s, whatever, right? Like early in the 1900s, a book was written by a guy and he read it and it has these ciphers and somehow it like, do you remember the movie A Beautiful Mind?
Oh yeah.
I remember this thing called
he
numerology.
was working for the CIA the whole time, dropping off, but he found things. What he found, whatever they were, he found them. Whether they're real, they're not, they're all imaginary. Do we really know? That's the whole thing. He was looking and he was
the guy in A Beautiful Mind was wrong. I mean, he literally was like,
he was crazy.
He was nuts, and it was all made up. He was living in a false
action
reality.
of working for the CIA was all made up, but no one ever actually saw what he thought he found. No one actually ever reviewed all that thing. For all we know, he might have found a whole bunch of hidden messages randomly throughout his huntings. Maybe not everything, again. But if you could understand how his brain worked, how the metric, how he was doing the calculus itself in his brain, you could at least try and decipher how close to reality what he did would be, right? Like,
I don't know that I want to go down rabbit holes like that. Like, look.
Oh, I didn't say I want to. I'm just saying,
that's all I really
hear a guy like Zach talk. I'm not trying. He's not being malicious. He believes. This is what I'm saying.
I agree that he believes the bullshit.
He thinks it's real. He doesn't understand it's a delusion. To him, the Jesuits are real. They're the CIA. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just now people are looking at the work, and about 70% of the time or 60% of the time, he hits on bets or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but it's enough to convince enough people to worship him.
That's literally like, you know, have you ever seen those studies where they talk about how like a monkey can, if you give a monkey a typewriter and enough time, it'll eventually compose.
Could figure out how to.
It'll eventually write Shakespeare or some shit. Isn't it the same shit?
I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I just find human condition very interesting. Think about it. He has hundreds of thousands, like he has 100,000 followers easy out there. That because there are people I've seen say, "Oh, I used to follow you years ago," and so he actively has like 20,000 followers now, and he's had.
I get it.
Dude, he has a cult following around him. These people dox people. They have a whole community. They're psychotic. That kid stabbed his roommate. I mean, like they have an endless, weird, crazy community that has its own life and thing. And he is the center point of it. He is their Jim Jones.
Well, and that also fuels his psyche as well.
Right. And it's just interesting to watch a real life John Nash. That's how
to an extent, it fuels it to an extent that at some point, even if his mind and he figures out that it's fake or it's bullshit or it's a grift, he would continue doing it because he's been lifted to such a.
I think we're at that point. I think that's where we are now, is that he's been challenged so much over the last year, more in ways like, dude, he clearly. Let me ask you something, Grit. If as an outside person, who never met Zach before, and I know me and you would think he lost. People say we're biased. We don't, right? But as anyone who listened to me just now, I want him to win. I truly do, because I want to see how his brain worked. Did he even stand a chance? He got annihilated from an outside look because he never gave an answer to anything that was.
He did get no. Hold on. No, he gave answers. He gave answers that didn't make any damn sense.
Oh,
and then when pushed to do the thing that he says he does every day, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is why this whole thing falls flat, right? Like this is why I can't listen to Zach ever again without thinking he's an idiot. I can't, he needs to like crawl in a hole somewhere and go the fuck away, because if you tell me that you can pick winning sports teams X number of times in a row, and I say, cool, who are you picking? Who's your pick for next week? And you give me some long ass roundabout bullshit that doesn't end up with, the fucking red team's going to kill the blue team by 10 points. You're full of shit.
So I get that angle, and I've seen that angle he played. Like Andrew hammered that home too. He's like, just give us a prediction, just give it, and he was always, oh, I do it all the time on my Patreon. In other words, pay for it and I'll do it, right? And what Andrew should have done was hit up his chat and go, okay, here's a fucking $1,000, give us a fucking prediction, right? But Andrew
Yeah.
didn't do that. Nobody did that, right?
Oh no,
Now,
I
here's the
believe Andrew
reason.
did say.
Well, oh, did he?
Yeah, I believe he
Oh,
said.
well, if he dodged that, all bets are off. But I've
He's
seen
like-
this before. I've seen this before.
Imperius
where
wants you to know
these
that they
have-
released the Epstein files.
I saw that. I saw that. There's a bunch of people online looking at it right now.
I've seen it happen before where you would have people that beefs would happen and they would go, no, I'm the best at this. No, you're not, whatever, prove it, let's do this or let's do that. And the person says, I ain't going to fucking do that unless you pay. And it's like, well, that's chicken shit. Like, why are you going to do that? And it's like, well, because if I do this for free and then I end up looking bad, and then on top of that, I haven't paid for it, then I've got a double loss. If you pay for it, at least I've got the money. At least I've got the gain, right? Like, I understand the thinking behind it. I'm not agreeing with it at all, but I understand the thinking behind it.
I feel bad for the whole lot, but again, I just think that
yeah, I feel bad for me because I wasted a couple of hours of my life watching that bullshit. I feel bad for Andrew for having to listen to it.
anyone feels that went any other way just because they're able to say, well, I said all this babble and you just didn't understand. Like, dude, if you didn't convince your audience, then you lost, dude. You lose because you didn't win the...
Yeah.
But did he?
The interesting... Go ahead.
Did he? You can... So, losing the debate, it's people... And this is the thing with this whole debate sphere that I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily agree with. Is everybody gets so hung up on the win-loss. The issue is you can go in and you can be the underdog and you can have you can be on the wrong side of it and you can lose your ass. But the problem is the conversation in front of the public. So yes, I mean, if he lost, that's fine. But how many people did he get? 2, 3, 10 people that he may have convinced, pulled over to give him a try to pay him money? And if that's the case, did he really lose?
I mean, a lot of people said, I've heard what he said before. You're not the first person who took that stance that Zach wins by merely not conceding because he kept fighting and because he fought and always had something to respond and never caught flat. Then,
well, if nothing else, sheer curiosity, right?
Yeah, but no one cares whether Andrew's rich, Imperious, or smart. It's about the facts of that debate. It's not about that Andrew good because Zach bad. It's you have a tiny fucking ego and you're obsessed with other people who you seem to have hard-ons for. Sorry, he's driving me nuts over there.
It's a similar argument. The one I was making there is or it wasn't an argument, but observation, as the whole whatever girls thing, right? Like, oh well, Brian's giving them a platform, and how many people out of the thousands and especially if Andrew's on there and there's no telling 10, 15,000 people, how many out of those 10, 15,000? There is a percentage that is jumping over and signing on to their OnlyFans and paying money. Like, don't think for a minute there's not, right? And so while okay, or they're being degraded and they're being talked down to, or they're they got such a rough time, or we're going to straighten them out, or whatever the argument is, there's still gain in it for them at the end of the day, even if they look bad. And the people that look bad upon them likely weren't going to change their fucking minds anyway, right? So therefore, it was a I don't want to say it was I was going to say it was a zero sum game, and it's certainly not. But it's they know going in their gains are going to be low, right? They're not going to get the majority of the audience, but who fucking cares if they get out of thousands of viewers, if they get 20 subscribers at $10 a fucking month, for a few hours on a podcast. And kind of the same way I see with him. I mean, it's great. I mean, okay, Andrew, mopped the floor with him. The dude lost big time, whatever. in the grand scheme of things, he probably picked up a few bucks a month or whatever.
He picked up a ton of people because
Yeah.
there are stupid people.
Well, I
born-
mean, I'm just being generous. I don't want to say that he.
No, he does. He's super successful. Do not be fooled. He's been doing it for 11 years. He is hyper successful. He owns properties. He has a super successful parlay Patron where he gives out bets for monthly. He wins gambling. Dude, the dude has money. He thinks he's saving the world. He is John Nash. Like, no one wants to hear that, but the dude is John Nash. He thinks he's saving the world. He thinks the Jesuits are and all this is fake and everything is artificial and can be
The
controlled.
Jesuit thing just kills me, man. Like,
Oh, good. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's what you have to understand. It's not, the proof is he's more John Nash than anything else because he's successful. He's not dead broke. He actually is capitalizing on all of this madness. He has been. And he will not have a problem getting by for the rest of his life.
Well,
Arakar Oak, Jesuits are not Jews.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds
So
right.
Oak also said I don't think anyone decided to go with him after the debate. Also, really helps to give pushback.
No,
I would give pushback on the
bragging the next day
Well,
how well it was. For
I
him.
want to give pushback on the notion that it's not happening, right? That the people, whatever it might be, whether it's an issue on the whatever podcast with those chicks or this or whatever,
That's
that
true.
nobody they're gaining nothing out of this. Like everybody's against them. You have a skewed perception out there in this live chat because all you're seeing is the people participating in the live chat, and the vast majority of people watching shit don't participate in the live chat, so you don't know what they're doing. They're not giving you any indication because they're not typing in the chat. And odds are, if the overwhelming majority of stuff in the live chat is wherever that goes, it's like mob rule, right? They're less likely if they're somebody that agrees with that other person or they're going to jump onto their OnlyFans because they think they're hot or what. They're not going to say that out there in the fucking live chat. So again, they're not going to comment and you're never going to know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know though. I feel like that the problem is I think Zach came off looking unhinged.
He came off looking weak, but people like
No, weak would have been an improvement. He came off looking unhinged.
Yeah,
He was constantly called on. Literally, look. If you look unhinged, if someone says stop. What you're doing is I ask you a question and you spurg for 20 minutes on totally irrelevant things instead of just giving me the answer. Josh would then say, but I have to tell you how I get there. And Andrew would say, as a rational person, no, I don't care how you get there. I just want the answer. To which Josh would then repeat, but I have to tell you how I get the answer, and then spurg for 5 minutes.
And do you know why he wants to do that? Because then by telling the answer, he gets his bait out to those people that.
Well, it's a hypnotic technique.
If he just gives the fucking
it's a hypnotic technique,
then that's not going to hit people.
Get him. And dude, can I just tell you something? Side note, because we're talking about not an opinion of mine, but I was on a panel at one point during the debate, live responding to the panel, right? Like live critiquing it as it's happening. And someone on the panel made a mention of more than one person on the panel made a mention of that they feel that Zach is winning because he was promised a formal debate. And what he's getting is just a bum rush, and the moderator's not controlling anything, where the two of them just went at it, and she didn't keep a handle on things during, long stretches where they're just arguing back and forth with each other. So it's not like proper. He's not presenting a point and then an argument and then a counter, right? Like there was no order to it. It was a free for all. So there were people saying
why
that
Josh lost.
Zach was withstanding.
Zach. I keep saying Josh. That's why Zach lost. Zach lost because Andrew had an opening statement that was really clear.
Right, but
Zach had a rambling bunch of
the
garbage.
lack of structure in the debate. My point is there are people who viewed Zach as a winner because he withstood, because there was no structure and the moderator didn't protect him and there wasn't a balance and an order and a formality.
Well, those people are idiots.
Again,
Andrew thrives. Andrew thrives in the chaos, right? Like it's amazing. But that's one
So
thing I noticed.
I got to push back. Hold on. I got to really push back on this idea that Andrew bum rushed him. That's bullshit. That's absolute horseshit, actually, because
Andrew
literally had an opening. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Andrew understands how to maximize the impact off of the specific forum. Like he is a fucking master at shit like
it's
that.
It's more not that Andrew bum rushed him. It's that she didn't moderate. She didn't do anything. She sat there looking at him. You could make up like.
But that's irrelevant to the point. Thinking. The moderator's not there to help you.
No, the
moderator's only there to if you are being overrun and you ask for help, the moderator restores order. But as long as both people are going at each other, the moderator is going to let it happen.
Yeah,
especially in open debate.
At that lack of formality as Andrew talking over Zach not being given a proper chance.
That's bullshit. That's horseshit. Whoever's saying that's full of shit.
There are people out there who are saying that. Like,
well, I'm sure there are. There are people that say the Earth is flat too. They're fucking wrong. They're the same people that say the Earth is flat.
Okay, dude. Again, I'm not right. Like I'm just pointing out that there's a spectrum of opinions of how that was taken. I agree. Anyone with 2 cents of a brain saw Zach get destroyed, but the lesser.
But the complaint has to be addressed, right? The complaint is that Zach never had a chance because Andrew bum rushed. No, Andrew made a very clear opening statement. Zach rambled for 5 fucking minutes about nothing.
Well,
did not even really make an opening statement.
I think what Gimpy is saying, your opinion of whether one person's opinion of whether he was bum rushed or not, and another that can vary, right? What Gimpy is saying to those people, they felt like this happened, right?
Yeah,
regardless of whether you felt like it or whether.
But it's not a matter of. I'm not even talking about feelings. It is a simple fact that Andrew gave a concise, directed, pointed opening statement. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm not judging the fact that whether Andrew's opening statement was even effective.
But how it's received is how people are going to react.
It's irrelevant. His words are irrelevant. He gave a simple, concise opening statement. He did not come at Zach hard. He didn't call him a bunch of names, and he didn't ramble or anything. Zach, on the other hand, literally rambled his entire opening statement and never actually made any good points, except that gematria is cool, I guess. I don't know. When it came into the crosstalk, the crossfire, open discussion, whatever you want to call it, the moderator doesn't even get involved in that unless you start yelling at each other and just calling each other idiots and shit like that, and which is not productive, which then they just calm you down and let you go back at it. But that's a really bad position to say that Zach won because of that. Zach never made an argument.
I never said Zach won. I never won.
I got it. I'm saying I understand neither one of you guys said that. I'm saying the people who are saying that are technically and factually wrong because they absolutely Andrew absolutely had a debate. Zach rambled about nonsense.
This goes back again to what I said, that you guys focus on who won, who lost, and the perceptions that people get off of the conversations and the back and forth being had is what dictates how that particular.
But it's not a conversation to just sit there and say we see that in 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue and bullshit. That's garbage.
But to Kyle in fucking New York City, it might be like whatever the fuck. Like to Grid,
he's probably smoking a lot of pot.
And if you're gonna go by established debate rules and all of this other things, you've got some kind of foundation to go off of. You can point to that and say, okay, Andrew factually won.
Hold on. You guys are defending a complete fucking idiot who happens to make a lot of money.
I'm not defending anybody. I'm saying he's grifting these fucking people.
Oh, yeah.
He's been given a platform. I'm not defending the fucker. I don't know him. I don't believe in the shit.
Actually,
Yeah, but it's
Zach, we
the
know
idea.
secretly you're Zach. This is an alter ego of Zach's here to argue with us.
Sorry.
He's Zach's alter ego, Clover Tack.
Oh no,
Like I had never heard of this fucker before. Like which one was
Dude,
it?
he
it's
just
not
likes to
like-
argue with me. That's all.
To be
He's gonna
honest, it's not an argument. It's what we're trying to say is that regardless of what logically occurred, there is a portion of these people who are wrong,
Yeah.
but
sure.
interpret it that Zach won because he withstood, because he didn't run away. The bar was very low for that.
He didn't rage quit, so he won.
Yeah, something like that, okay? Because the format presents itself as more of a free-for-all format, and these people were expecting a more formalized format. When they saw that and Zach made it to the end, that's why Zach won, is he survived. That's it. Because
It is a win. It is a win of sorts.
But that's
to
how
just
they
survive.
see it. They see it that Gematria withstood scrutiny, not an idiot didn't run away because he's so delusional he didn't have to.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, man. That's all.
And look, let's just be honest. Let's be honest. This went all right. So I would actually give credence to and also Anson Knowles wants to know if you have a channel.
It's I'm either on X at Gimpy Death or just the guys podcast once a week.
So here's the thing. So and thank you for whoever reminded me that he had just Ghost 1978. So Zach knew what he was in for. He had just debated Jim Bob, who is a lot calmer than Andrew and who will accept things.
Yeah, that was first. That would happen first, right?
That's why.
Yeah, that one happened first.
Okay.
And so it's disingenuous to say that just because Zach survived, he won. Because he knew
No,
what
I get that. Zach is
I'm not saying that you said that. Don't take it personally.
No,
I'm
I'm
just saying
no, you're misunderstanding. I'm saying that these viewers.
Yeah, I know. I understand. The
they don't
viewers
know
that are
what-
saying that are being disingenuous because Jim Bob
They don't
had
know what
debated him
you're
already.
saying.
He knew what he was in for. He knew, and look, I get it from Zach's point of view. It's another platform. It's people that hadn't seen him before. Maybe he picks up a couple of subs. Maybe, drives people to his website and he gets to fleece them for some money. I get it. I understand it. There's no bad press. But just technically, Andrew dog walked him just terribly.
Dog walks him fuck himself. A monkey,
He kind of did dog walk
a
himself.
monkey in
I
a
can't
fez
argue
hat
that point.
And a little vest could dog walk him.
I don't
Holy
think he
shit,
did. I don't
Mr.
think he did
Mr.
very well against. I don't think he did very well against Jim Bob either, though.
Dude,
No, he
a
didn't.
guy like Andrew who was progressively getting drunker.
He had to put up with that nonsense.
I don't know how anybody listens to that guy. Again, for me, it's like
I've noticed that when
man.
Zach is on, you tend to not be on CTs. I've noticed that.
I can't deal with that. I can't.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'd rather just watch from behind the screen and from like sitting at home watching on the YouTube and shit. Because, dude, I treat him like John Nash. With this time, we get to check the work.
Yeah.
It's all made up. It's all an illusion. And maybe if I can ever figure out the metric in his brain, I'll be able to tell good work from bad. But until he gives me the the key
Proof?
Yeah, like the key.
What are you looking for?
Math. I can't, but I want to. Like, I look at it as a John Nash.
Did Gimpy freeze? No. Oh, I froze. That was weird. Again, I don't know why it's done that twice today. What's happening?
You probably have to restart your router.
Could be.
That's a
Well,
problem in your network. I mean, this is what I do for a living.
Internet around here too.
Welcome back.
What the hell, man?
They know we're talking truth.
No, I have to wonder if so. My cable, the router is actually in the house. I have to wonder if someone's cleaning something and yanking on the cable or some shit.
Maybe. Anything is possible in the wonderful world of.
Well, don't string it across the clothesline. Bury it like a normal person.
It is buried.
Actually,
the one from here to the house,
like, he has
but inside the router,
he pays to hold the wire up above their head, like
Right. Hold it higher.
They work
Higher.
on 10-hour shifts.
That's
And they're
funny.
just like this. They're like
I would do that,
of them
too.
standing between the house and the shed. I mean, the rain, that's when it really gets messy because they got to go and put them things over them so they're covered from the rain. It's awful.
Yeah. Our car Oak, the grift is overwhelming people with random facts, and it's actually a technique. Flow State broke it down on his show. It's actually a type of, it's a technique that hypnotists use to make you more pliable.
And CT's not wrong. He attracts a very specific audience.
Yeah. Dude, I just couldn't deal with it at all.
That's not true. Imperious thinks Andrew won, Moxie. That comment.
No.
The end of the comment is as anyone who hates Andrew Wilson. So I'm like, no, because Imperious hates Andrew and he still thinks Zach lost.
No, he thinks Zach won.
Imperious thinks Zach won?
He said, well, he says that. He doesn't.
No, he thinks Zach lost. He just says that bullshit to agitate.
Yeah, he doesn't think it. He knows.
Yeah.
That Zach lost. He just doesn't want to admit that Zach lost.
That's why he's so mad at CT, because CT went up there afterwards and rubbed it in his face.
Rubbed it in Zach's face?
No, he went up there on the panel afterwards.
Oh, I didn't stay around for that part. I honestly thought that CT was going to kind of be on Zach's side.
No way. He came up there and he said, I wanted it to be that you won, buddy, but you got your ass kicked. And then the next day, CT went on his show when CT got chewed out by Zach and all his little fuck followers.
I wondered why he hadn't been on the show the last couple of days. That explains that.
He's been doing other stuff. I think today he's running a space on X. Taking a break. Dude, so much negativity running that channel day in and day out for 12 hours.
I don't know how he stays on for so long, man. Like
he says he's a marathon runner is his answer if you ask him that question.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, he falls asleep. You guys just don't see it. If you're not paying attention, sometimes CT's sleeping with his eyes open.
I mean, I don't blame him. I would be mind numbed by that nonsense too, to be honest with you. It's very funny.
He was on a show yesterday. What's it called? Something the greatest morning with Imperious. What's the name of that dude's show he was on? If you're still in the chat, Siobhan's show, the greatest morning show or some shit. He was on yesterday, and him and Bob did a whole bit with Bob was calling him a tether as if they never met each other, and Siobhan just let it go because Siobhan knows them both. And Bob's like, I can't believe you let this tether talk. He's bad for the.
Wow.
Straight FBA on CT. Oh, and Bob couldn't keep a straight face, man. Couldn't keep a straight face.
That's nuts. That is pretty crazy.
Oh, it was hysterical. For like 15 minutes, they went back and forth. Siobhan let it go. I give credit to Siobhan that he let that generic that organic content form. Because that was some funny shit, dude. I was rolling. My wife was rolling.
So what's this? And because we only got a few minutes left, I'm going to take this to a softer place, a more friendly place. What's going on with?
Do we need to sing
Carolyn
Kumbaya
Levitt?
first?
What's that?
Do we need to sing Kumbaya first? Or
No. What's going on with Carolyn Levitt and the fucking View? Apparently, Whoopi Goldberg's getting her butt kicked. Joy Behar is getting arrested.
I heard that Goldberg and Behar.
What the fuck is going on?
I heard that those two are out.
Are they out?
I heard.
I don't know. I don't watch The View. I actually hadn't heard about The View until
Whoopi was supposed to do an Oscar thing, with someone. I forget who. Some black actress that I know. I just can't remember the name right now. And that actress wouldn't do it. Said she won't, present the award with Whoopi. She's intolerable. I mean, I think Whoopi. There are rumors of Whoopi and Joy Behar being finished on The View this season.
Well, didn't they make some ridiculous claim about Carolyn Levitt?
They make a lot of ridiculous
claims. Money.
So
that she didn't it was like the only reason that she's Trump's press secretary is because she's a 10 or some shit like that.
Okay, and
Yeah, right? Like that is kind of part of the job, you know. Like you're supposed to look good in front of the press, right? So I don't know.
You know, I love her, Carolyn Levitt. I like her better than McEnany.
Dude,
yeah,
I
definitely.
gotta
like
be
her better.
honest.
I don't know.
Dude,
There's something about her delivery that's just it makes me.
the way she controls the room
Uh,
is crazy. Like no kidding. Like she just absolutely just hammers it. And
she's good.
yeah, she's really good. I've watched a couple of the press conferences, and it's been great. So $5 came in to Anson Knowles. I'm not susceptible to mentalist tricks like hypnotism unless she's hot and named Arthur Dye. Arthur Dye did not make it in last night. No wonder Andrew was so sad. So,
Dude, I feel these communities like this is a thing.
oh, that's right. They said she was a DEI hire, that Trump hired her only because she was a 10.
TR says it was Keanu that wouldn't present with Whoopi.
Was it Keanu? I don't know. I
Yeah,
thought it was
that's probably true.
Yeah,
He's
but I thought it was also
man.
there's a black actress that this said recently that she wouldn't. Yeah,
Keanu's awesome. I could see.
Oh
that.
yeah, he's the best. Bill and Ted's is my favorite.
I know we actually have about 20 minutes left in the show, but I'm gonna drop off a little early. I've got some things to do, and I'm gonna be back on tonight. I think around 7 o'clock my time. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna be streaming with Fabian Liberty, who is an ANCAP. He's awesome. It's going to be a great discussion. I think we're going to be talking about red pill stuff, so it's gonna be great. You guys are really going to love it if you I want you all to come. The link's already up. Mark it, put it in your schedule. Come on in. I've got to keep working on my wall here, but right now I have to actually go in the house and take care of some things with my wife. I'm going to send you guys over. I'm going to send you over to Thorpe TV. I hate to, but they're the only ones on right now. God forgive me. Final words, gentlemen. Gentlemen.
Yeah. Hit me up on X, Gimpy Death, or check me and CT out on Just the Guys podcast. And for the rest of you, go see Just the Guys Chaotic Truth Live or Pop and Politics Live. So you check out the show that actually makes me the most money.
I've got to get on that Just a Guy podcast. If only I knew. If I hadn't.
Dude, 6:30 on Saturdays, man. And
yeah, I go live at 8, so maybe that works. Yeah. All right, Clover Tack, make it happen, Captain.
What? What am I making happen?
A closing statement, bro.
I don't care about no closing statement. Pull the plug on this bitch.
All right. Clover Tack said, fuck it. We're out.